Hello and welcome to the 50th episode of the Destiny Community Podcast. We made it.
Number 50.
This is a milestone. Number 50.
50!
I'm drinking.
I feel like
I got Americano.
the 50 milestone's a weird one because it's so close to the 52 milestone, which is usually a full year.
Yeah, full year.
So it's like, we made 50, and then 2 weeks later, like, we made it a year. Like, it's like double celebration.
You got to think about it like this.
Yeah.
You get Christmas, you're like, oh my God, Christmas. Or,
Yeah.
Hanukkah if you're Jewish. And then boom, New Year's.
New Year's.
Who complains about double?
Yeah.
Who complains about that?
No, I mean, like, some people
Anybody
try
with a
some people try to
birthday
merge
in
that.
December complains about double holidays.
No,
Yeah,
I'm the 29th
I'm
of
sure
December.
people
I loved it.
Yeah.
complain about mergers,
Listen, for me, when I was a kid and I didn't get the particular game that I wanted on Christmas, then I'd be like, guess what, bitches? My birthday.
time.
Give me-
It's my
this is
birthday.
exactly what I want.
You never felt like you were getting kind of combined gifts for both. Like if you had a birthday in June where it's you got a lot of time in
Right.
between, everybody gets to save up a little bit more money for Tefty's birthday or Christmas.
So what happened?
Whereas
Save
you
your
got-
money.
Here's what
Mine's
happened.
in a good
Win.
spot.
Hey.
My birthday's July, Christmas, December. It's like, it's perfect.
Here's
Oh,
what
yeah,
happened with
right,
me.
Everything.
I'm the youngest. I got a brother and sister, and so my parents felt bad if I didn't get a birthday gift. So they knew they planned on it. So I didn't get like the combined thing. They made sure that I had a birthday because my brother and sister had birthdays in the summer. So
I thought you were going to say they bought you gifts on your brother and sister's birthday. So now
Yeah.
you keep getting gifts, even when you're like a grown up, to make you feel better because you were upset.
well, that'd be amazing.
Year-round gifts.
Well, we have a shite ton of stuff to talk about.
We got so much.
We
Holy
do.
crap!
Woohoo!
We got 14 hours worth of stuff to talk about.
Okay, and
I have
basically
about
from-
6.5.
Yes.
Okay, rub it in. Why don't you rub it in?
Yes.
Now. I'm gonna
So,
blame
Datto-
that. Hold up. I'm gonna blame that
World
on.
first. Feels good, man.
I'm gonna blame that on karma. So Holtz refusing to switch his loadouts in D1, the karmic retribution came through, and it wasn't your fault at all, Holtz. That's what I'm saying. But it was karma. Karma came
You know
through.
what? I'm with you on that because he would never switch to Celestial Nighthawk whenever he raided with
That's
me.
what I'm saying.
I really needed
I
stuff.
wouldn't switch to it because I didn't own it.
That
Why
is
didn't
But
you
you
own it?
could have
Because
bought
you
it
deleted
from the vendor.
kiosk.
You would have
Exactly.
bitched at me for having to leave the raid and go buy
No,
it
I
then.
wouldn't have.
Yes, you would.
No, I would
Yes,
not
you
have
would've.
because that means we save. We burn 5 minutes so that we save hours.
Yeah, but it
Exactly.
took us. You're telling me about Crota, the fight that takes like 2 minutes.
it
to
wasn't
do
just
karma.
Crota,
Without
Holtzmann.
it.
This is
It
karma,
wasn't
Holtz.
Crota.
You were
settle
you were
down.
an
Let's
exceptional
settle-
raider, and yet we had problem after problem because of your karma. Can't believe it, Holtz.
The
I
defense
blame-
rests.
I blame this on Holtzmann for everything.
To be honest,
I'm glad we're in agreement, Dad.
Yeah.
guys, Hope did destroy all of the Cabal's pottery.
That's-
Oh yeah.
Calais seemed pretty pissed about that in the final
There
fight.
was
I'm not
we
gonna lie,
were
Calais
in the
doesn't seem pissed about much of anything. He's like a pretty chill dude.
that guy just wants to hang, drink some wine.
He's just. Here, let me go callous mode here real quick in my.
No,
Well, we should
Do it.
also
have a
say,
pimp
guys,
cup?
Other end, hold on.
We-
Callous mode engaged.
we should also say,
Oh yeah.
spoilers,
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
If you're looking to listen to this podcast without knowing anything about the raid, it is going to be very spoiler heavy. So just right away
Yeah.
from the beginning, there is going to be
Yeah.
lots of spoilers about
Otherwise,
the
Like,
What
we're
would
not
we
holding
talk
back
about?
on spoilers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the raid,
We're
we
gonna
can't
talk
hold
about
back
this
on it.
stuff.
We're just going to be like, so guys, did you do anything this week?
Balancing
No.
My beer on my belly.
Yeah,
So
but it wasn't
Martin-
really callous though. That's what's weird.
yeah, but let's you
Start from
want to
the-
do it like chronologically, like try to go through the raid and talk about it and the encounters.
Definitely.
Because there is some sick, awesome things about that raid, and I just want to start this conversation off by saying kudos to the raid team.
Yes.
I think
Oh,
they
yeah.
created a raid, in my opinion, that it supersedes Vault of Glass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I was waiting for. Finally, they made something good, and I was like, "What are you? Where is this
Finally,
sentence
they
going?
got off their butts,
Where is this going?"
crafted a decent raid for once. Jesus.
It's going. It's going at the top of my list, Datto. It's going right up there as my favorite raid.
This
All
raid
right.
is
It's-
epic. I mean, the
It is
actual
epic.
size is like a whole nother destination. Like with how
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
you can explore, it's insane how big it is. Like,
you guys have seen the picture, right, of like the Leviathan itself, and then you see the little city at the very top end of the mouth.
yeah,
And that's where
That's
we are.
where we are.
yeah.
That tiny little thing.
Yeah,
Right.
that's amazing. The whole concept of the Leviathan kind of breaks my brain. Like, it would go and just eat planets, right? I mean, that's what it is. The World Eater. It eats planets. That's how big it is, right?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So,
But the fact that they made a raid exclusively in a space that is only accessible via the raid and has that many nooks and crannies and areas and secrets. I mean, there's so many secrets in it. That's like it's Destiny 2. Like, you're used to these raids.
Yeah.
Look at this raid. It's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt more like an experience than just I did this thing in a game. It was like I went on a journey, I went on an adventure. It was like a full experience. I came out like, damn, I just experienced something awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
So it was a whole other level.
Your standpoint in this thing thematically, right, is that you are there for the Emperor's entertainment.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Basically.
You're in a game show.
Yeah. He invited. He's like, sure, come on.
He's
the show.
invited. He's not afraid of you.
No.
He's not.
You're going in for a fight, and he's inviting you for a glass of wine and to be and as entertainment. He is not worried about you as a person.
He wants you to be in his game show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He wants to
it's
price
so
his
different,
right
like
you.
tonally than anything we've ever done in a raid,
Yeah.
right? And,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, we fought Atheon because he was going to erase us from time. We fought
Mhm.
Crota because he was going
Right.
to like literally take over the galaxy. Same thing with Oryx.
He wanted to take our souls.
Axis was threatening all of humanity, right?
Yes.
Right.
This guy, he just wants to see what we're all about. Like we kind of did him a solid when we killed Gaul,
Yeah.
and now he kind of,
Well,
hey,
I think he was going to eat the
how
solar
cool
system.
are you? Come on over.
Well, no. So what he wants is he's impressed by us taking down Gaul.
Yeah.
In a little
Who
way.
was an outcast, and he was like,
Who was an outcast.
Gaul's
He's
a
like-
problem, you know?
So we basically took care of the flea that was on his arm.
Yeah.
We swatted it away. And so in that moment of his benevolence, he's invited us to his home to be his entertainment and to give us an offer we won't refuse.
Okay, I have to bring this up now because we're talking so much about Calais. Was that really Calais?
No.
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 There's thousands of them back
So
there.
is Calais a real person or is it a puppet by another dark organization?
He's a real person. As far as we can tell, he's a real person, but is a man that lives such opulence that he doesn't even want to do anything himself. So he has all his robots that are also being all hedonistic.
But is that the lore though? Because there's two options. One is that he is so opulent and hedonistic that he actually recreated himself and robots to go to different places, or he is not real anymore and is being controlled by a darker force.
Well, in the lore, the crash course on the lore history here, he did his ship was like sent out to basically the edge of the universe by some saboteurs, and he met the darkness one-on-one or something, and he decided to embrace it. I think that's the way.
Controlled by the darkness. Confirmed.
So that could be why in the certain raid mechanic, like when you get teleported into his mind's eye,
it goes to the darkness.
You're basically in the darkness. Maybe. I don't know. This feels like a Bife question. I'm pretty sure I
100%.
read all this on a Reddit comment, so I don't even know if this is real or
Someone
just
just wrote some
speculating.
fan
Are you
fiction
according to
and
Reddit?
we're just
If you
According to
happen to
Reddit.
pick up the collector's edition that came with the little booklet, like it's got like a letter from Calais to our guardian, and it's got like
nice.
basically a hit list of all the people he'd like us to kill.
So now we're what? Callus's hitmen? What the hell?
We're Callus's.
'Cause we took out
We're
Gaul.
turning into the darkness. In
Yeah.
Destiny 3, we're gonna be able to choose between being part of Callus's army and the dark side, or
We were screaming so much excitement when Callus went down that we missed some of the very crucial text that was
Right.
under at the bottom of
Yeah.
the screen.
He basically just said, like, I can show you how to live to your potential. You find it out. I'll leave you some gifts. And it's just kind of like stuff like that. Like it kind of alluded to the fact that maybe he was still out there doing something, or maybe he was just transmitting himself, or
Interesting.
it's left very open ended.
So
Yeah,
he's
for sure.
inviting us to join the Cabal Empire.
He wants.
No, right?
He wants
Maybe not
us,
necessarily
yes,
that.
Yes.
No,
Well,
he wants us on.
yeah,
He wants us to be like bounty hunters.
he wants us on their team.
Yeah, he wants to.
He's open to friendship for sure.
He's
Right.
he's
He
saying,
wouldn't
look,
mind sitting down, having a glass of
Yeah.
wine, maybe eating some grapes, and
grapes.
just a
chewing
little
some things
opulent.
over.
You know,
Let's get opulent up in this.
he
Maybe he's
wants,
just trying to train us for the darkness. He's just trying to get us to train. Be
All right,
prepared.
let's go back to what Pope's got us started on. Right?
Okay.
Yes.
We land in the raid for the first time, and
Yes.
we're presented with this golden city.
Love it.
Like right off the bat, this enormous tower in front of us. It's gigantic, and then as you get closer, you realize that front door isn't where we're going. We got to crawl up this thing
Mhm.
and like find a way in. And you start right off the bat. You start to find out how large this
how
play
minuscule
space is going to
you
be.
are.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. You
the
feel,
whole
feel
thing
very
is
small.
designed to give you. Think about it from the lore standpoint of what he's trying to do. The whole thing, the ship, the Leviathan, the city, it's all designed to show you how small you are.
Right, and how
Right.
big he
Mhm.
is. Like
And how big.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yes.
the Cabal Empire.
Right.
I bet he's a tiny scion. I bet he's one of
Oh,
those like
that's so
old guys
good.
that we smacked.
I was wondering
He's
about
just-
that. Yeah.
They're a little midget.
Yeah. I mean, if he is a robot, like that's the other theory too. Is we should go through.
Okay,
the-
okay, start from the beginning. Okay.
So you get to the top, and so far there's no fight happening here until you start shooting them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you
Right,
can literally
you
walk
can
by
walk
them.
right past
Walk-
them.
Which has anybody tested that? Can you walk through the entire raid without shooting anybody, or you just invited in?
Datto, let's go.
Let's go, Datto. Maybe you can walk through the
No,
entire
I'm pretty
thing.
sure they start shooting at you.
I mean,
One
so
easy
start opening
trick.
the doors.
Relatively
You have
sure.
You have to go. So then you get into like the main area.
The
And you're
courtyard.
presented with like this hub, the courtyard. It's a hub, and it's got multiple doors,
Yeah.
and different ways to open those doors. Well, you kind of do the same thing over and over again to open the doors, but it seemed like it got progressively more difficult as you open each
It
door.
did. Yeah.
So you go and you kind of get these relics from the relic holders, and you put them in place on the floor. It opens the door, and the first
Wait,
place
wait,
you
you-
enter is the
You gotta
bathhouse.
you gotta find the counselor first, and nobody knows how to find the counselor. It is impossible
It is
to find the freaking counselor.
I know.
I mean,
Impossible riddle.
Nobody in our
I
raid
was on the
team
strike
said where it
team.
was ever.
I was on the strike team, so that wasn't my problem.
Not
These
a
guys
single
don't
time.
understand how a triangle works, Datto. It's like, look, you look at the triangle, it's on the floor that we're trying to defend, and the point to the triangle, that points to where the little counselor thing is going to spawn in. But, however many
Wow, this
times
is
I
new
said that,
information.
they
It just
Why didn't you bring this up during the race?
yeah.
They did
It
that.
would have been great,
Exactly that.
Unbelievable.
helpful information
Also,
if you just said
why
it
didn't
during
you
the
just
raid.
go kill the counselor if you knew where it was?
Oh,
Seriously.
maybe because I was killing the guy with the banner. That we
That
needed
was
kill,
easy
so
to
we didn't
find.
spend 20
Nobody
minutes
needed
there.
help with that. That was easy. We just needed
Now,
help with
all
the
we
counselor.
need is a raid team of just Patricks.
No, we
God,
don't.
how great would that be?
I mean, I say that to myself sometimes. Like,
They would
God, what
die
if I
all
could
the
just
time,
replicate
Patrick.
myself.
Jesus.
I could just
Robots.
raid all day, every day.
Callus has already done
Just forever.
Yeah.
Right? Just pull a callus.
Yeah.
So you get into
Closet
this.
full of
You get into
yourselves.
this first fight, right? Which is the bathhouse, right?
The bathhouse. It's called, what is it called exactly?
Bathhouse.
I just been calling it the bath or the
Pretty
bath.
sure it wasn't it called the bathhouse?
No,
It wasn't?
Was it not?
no.
That's
it was
weird.
called the.
He was
Damn.
he was
Oh.
ready to get in some bath and get naked though.
Yeah, there's some bath
definitely a
action.
bath.
There were
Bathhouse.
definitely some
Yeah.
bathing cabal.
Bobby
And there was
Flay
lots
came
of
out.
pottery,
Yeah.
lots of pottery and berries. And,
Royal pools.
The Royal Pools.
Ah,
Yes.
Royal Pools. Well, you had
So,
the
a bathhouse.
the Iron Chefs come out and try to take you out while they're taking a bath.
That. So what was your first strategy going into the bathhouse or into the Royal Pools?
Before we started doing before we started running the triangle offense there with rotating people in and out, I think we just kind of were doing it. If you ran out of charges, you go back and go to the middle, grab your own charge, and then bring it back. And then we just kind of had people roaming, helping people shoot whatever they needed to shoot. A lot of people were saying like, "Oh, we got to hit them all at the same time," and that's something that occurs in math class way too frequently. Like we always think that things need to happen at the exact same time, and literally not once has that ever happened in a raid. At least from what I remember.
Gauntlet.
Okay, besides up before the gauntlet.
There you go. There you go.
Up until the gauntlet. So yeah, we just kind of had that, and then we kind of figured like, oh, the chains go up if you're not on the thing, and we were just waiting for one phase where we had all the chains down, and we knew we were running into problems when it was 5 minutes in and we were just all dying to the wipe mechanic or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So eventually, with the help of Leopard getting some power ammo finally, and being able to survive the bathers, we eventually got it together and just started doing the rotation. As soon as like we locked onto that one rotation, I'd say within 15 minutes it was done.
We basically did the same thing. We struggled for a little bit, and then we realized, just rotate. And then once we got the rotation, it's like, okay, then we got the one damage phase to like work. Then we wiped because it was all half-assed, and then we finally. And then basically that's the way raiding goes in general.
Yeah, that's pretty consistent throughout the raid. Is once we figured out the mechanic, we executed it within one or two tries. But figuring out the mechanic,
except for Calais.
Except for Calais, 18 hours later.
Oh my goodness.
We did pretty well with the figuring out stuff. Shut up. We did pretty well with the figuring out stuff. All things considered, and I'd say once we got past the bathhouse, once we got past that, the royal pools, we really started to pull together a lot more, and we were cruising.
Nice.
The bathhouse was cool because it wasn't like this like place that was built for murder. It wasn't a place that there's a bit of levity to going into the bathhouse, right? Like
the royal spa.
You got Cabal coming out of the water, and they're fucking naked.
Yeah, they're bathers. The royal bathers.
That's the whole thing with this raid. It's like
they're just trying to chill.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you're going into this epic battle. It's just like, here's the Cabal, they're chilling, and you're just here like entertaining Calais.
Yeah,
right.
It's got a whole different mood to it, and there's very funny moments where you're like, I can't take this seriously, which kind of adds a light mood to it, and I really like that.
The humor in it is extremely clear. Like just. It's a good element. It's a great element. It's not dark. The color palette is very bright and gold and I just really love the fact that it just felt very different than any other raid we've done.
Yeah,
it's easily the best in terms of set design and scale. I mean, for sure. Like we all thought, King's Fall felt huge, and this just makes it look tiny in comparison.
Organic.
Yeah.
So then you go back out to the hub world, you open up another door, and you're presented with the pleasure gardens.
Yeah.
Speaking of beautiful, the pleasure gardens were unreal. Like they were lush. They still had the gold around them, but they had these trees and these plants and this kind of misty fog down at the bottom.
However,
looked really nice.
Not pleasurable.
No,
not pleasurable.
No,
the internet does not like the gardens. The internet does not like the gardens.
It was a pretty punishing mechanic on that, because if anybody slips up at all, it's very hard to recover.
I will say it is somewhat forgiving though. Like my team believes that the frontal cones of vision are a lot stronger than anything to the side, but we had multiple times where we were basically what felt like right next to some beasts. Nothing.
Nothing.
There was.
I think they were high on the pollen. That's why
they were smoking the pollen for sure.
Yep.
We attempted that. We were stuck on that for a long time.
Yeah.
And we were making some critical errors. We were killing the dogs right away, and that aggravated the dogs and made your next your next adventure out into the garden much, much more difficult, because those dogs would start running around. They'd start acting erratically.
They would,
but once we figured out the mechanics, once we figured out the mechanics, it wasn't actually that difficult. We finished it within 1 or 2 shots.
Yeah.
So again, just like the bathhouse, like once you knew the mechanics, executing wasn't actually that difficult. Keeping your group together, just getting the dogs to a quarter health instead of killing the dogs as you go. It actually became a somewhat fun mechanic.
Yeah.
We did, we were banging our heads on it and we got frustrated, but I actually like that. I think that's actually a really cool design, because it's these like sneaky parts. Everybody's quiet and being still and hush hush. and then ultra fucking violence, go, and run back to the fucking room.
They're howling.
Let's sneak again. Let's sneak
Can
again.
I just say that the music and the howling like on that part is so good.
Yeah.
Like
Pretty
the
tasty.
music there, it's awesome.
Yeah. Did you guys end up doing a 4-man strat per pollen, or was it 2-man strat on two sides? How did?
We did 4-man.
Yeah. Okay. So that
Yeah,
seems to be
because
the best.
if you split 2 and 2, you only get 5 stacks.
Mhm.
Total. Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
instead of getting the full 12.
So could you go above 48?
yeah,
Oh, nice. Okay. So you can, if you have 5 stacks
Yeah.
with 4, then those dogs die really fast.
yeah. I mean, even with the 48 stack, they just
They melt.
You get everyone with like a solar nade, a void wall nade, or a pulse nade. God forbid you have 6 striker titans. You can just throw 2 pulses on each one, and you just win.
Yeah.
And then Hawthorne's Field Forge shotgun. Let me tell you, that thing destroys.
Yep.
Yeah,
that-
that was
that-
the shotgun of choice for math
Yeah.
class.
Merciless was pretty good on that part too.
Mhm.
That it melted them.
Yeah.
I was using the coil, and it was dangerous.
Yeah, I bet it was dangerous.
It was.
When dogs.
Another dog runs
think
up,
one of the-
hits the coil shot.
One of the cooler things to note is that all the fights that we described thus far, and then the next one, the gauntlet thing, they're all encounters. They're not boss fight. It's not
Mhm.
make this one big boss's health go to 0, which I think is a really cool kind of departure from the rest of a lot of the other fights I've seen. You know, Golgoroth, War Priest, Oryx, Axis.
Vosic and Axis.
Vosic.
I will
Um,
say.
yeah,
Keep
it's-
going.
Yeah, it's just it's a lot more interesting to me to have an encounter that feels like you're participating in this ritual type thing rather than just a boss that has certain mechanics that need to happen before you can actually damage him.
I think thematically it works really well. I was actually talking with Slayer Age last night just about thoughts on raid and this and that, and we both kind of agreed we would have liked to seen like one more boss in there that was more like you're fighting a boss, not necessarily an encounter. I was kind of hoping for some sort of thing where after you complete the gauntlet event, like, oh, proving you're worthy, and then like a bunch of you have a bunch of scenery change, and now you're just in this coliseum with like a giant gladiator that might come out or something like that.
That would have been
And
cool.
you have this gladiator battle, and I feel like that would have still kind of fit thematically.
Yeah, it's funny.
While
It's,
also giving
it's
you
fun,
that,
funny
that
you mention
boss
that.
fight.
It's funny you mention that because that was one of the themes I definitely picked up right away and throughout the whole thing was Roman Empire. Like they took
Right.
Roman Empire themes and put it into a space empire, and that was really freaking cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that was nice too is that at first I was like, are we going to go back to this like main, area over and over again? Because this is going to get old quick. But it broke up the heavy mechanics into just like shooting at everything and just like, like having a little bit of fun with your guardian,
Mhm.
popping supers like crazy, shooting shooting all your new weapons. If you just got a brand new weapon, it's a perfect time to start using it in that hub area. And then you'd go back into another mechanic heavy area.
Well,
where it was a little quieter.
there was when we broke off and got extremely lost, the whole group. It was like
Well,
gauntlets.
let's-
No,
okay,
hold on. Let me finish.
Okay.
We did the gauntlets and then got extremely lost. I can't remember who. I think it was Pope, myself, and Trey stumbled into the boss entrance, and then we
Yes,
we
we
opened
did.
up the other
I
door.
was there too. Yeah.
Okay, you were there too. Yeah. Then we opened up the door. I was like, oh, we opened up the door, and you guys were outside, and then it
Then we
teleported
got
us
stuck.
back out. But you can definitely skip. I know for sure you can skip from gauntlets to Calais. You can
Yes.
skip that door entrance.
We absolutely can.
You can skip right to him from the start.
So if you load in the raid, you can just go beat Calais right away.
Yep.
Ah, interesting.
Oh.
I mean, we never actually tested like, walking up to the door. I feel like maybe we did once, but there's a way to get from the start of the area where you're like
Aqueducts,
before
right?
all the royal guards, you go underneath, you just turn all that jive on, and then
Yep.
there's some stuff off to the left side you can turn on, and then you have that whole underbelly where if you know your way around, I know we at some point we were doing an exploration run for about an hour and a half. We got to his main door.
Yeah.
Can you open that door though without doing any of the rest of the raid?
I feel like we saw the prompt come up on the side, but we never actually like walked up to the door and tried to fight. At least I didn't.
I feel like you have to do each encounter, but I think the point of that whole system is that if you don't want to unlock the doors, you probably could get to each encounter through secret areas.
Yeah, that underbelly. Have you guys done any exploring in there at all?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It is
huge,
expansive.
It is.
It is.
We got lost.
Huge.
Yeah, very lost multiple times.
If you know your way around, and you want to go to certain encounters, and maybe try and skip others, I think that's a thing. I think it's a thing.
I think people are saying you can't open the door unless you're at the checkpoint.
Okay.
So
I'd love for somebody to make a map of the
it'll be on Reddit for sure.
Yeah.
There's already videos explaining like
there's videos
how to
where
get
each
from point A
chest
to
is.
No,
point
I
B.
want a map.
Yeah.
I want like a Legend of
A
Zelda
map would be
map.
cool.
Have
I will
fun
say
with
I will say
that-
one
with that
thing
one.
quick about the hub design is that I wish you could trigger the boss fights in any order that you wanted.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
that'd be
right now you have to go 1, 2, 3.
Mhm.
Even though you're in a hub world, it's still like you have to do this sequence. I would love it if there was a way for you to trigger something in the game that's like, we want to go here first. So activate this thing first,
Like the
and then we
first,
do this thing, and then we go in the order that we want.
like the first relic that you pick up to smash down to open up one of the doors. Like you could put it in any one of the 3 or 4
Exactly.
areas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That'd be nice.
Okay.
So after you do the dog encounter, you go back to the hub world, and then you start the gauntlet.
Yeah.
I will
the
say
real
the
gameplay.
gauntlet was my favorite part.
I would
Same.
agree with Watts. I
Same.
thought
It
it was
was-
hilarious.
It was
We had a
super
good time.
fun. It was just a good time. It was fun. You're like, holy crap, I'm in Calais' game show.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. It was
I like
just
the
it was
fireworks.
nice.
Everything was
It-
cool. about
yeah,
it.
everything was really cool.
We found out Patrick's colorblind. It was amazing.
Yes.
we did. We diagnosed Patrick
Yep.
during the raid.
He's even
I'm
a
not-
photographer too. And he's a colorblind.
Wait. Let's ask Datto.
Yes.
How did your runner call out which triangle to shoot?
We called out the one not to shoot.
Fucking told you.
That is so much more
I would,
complicated
if
for
it was
other
lit
people.
up in the middle, I would say middle. The other two we had people assigned to always shoot the top and always shoot the bottom arrow. So like,
Yeah,
you know,
that-
You guys are
if
math
I
class
had-
though. You guys will
if
deduce
I
that
had
information
leopard-
easily.
Wait.
I would
Now
say leopard
the
always
way
shoot
you're
top,
describing
always
it,
shoot
though, the way you're describing it, though, Datto, makes a lot of sense. So,
Thank
so
you.
you would say which? You would say the center one, and then your teammates would know to shoot the top or the bottom.
Correct.
Huh?
Yeah. So you would. So basically,
Well,
if I'm
maybe-
running through,
Yeah, I get it.
we set up a preliminary thing where it's like, okay, you two guys are with me. You're always shooting the top arrow no matter what, and you're always shooting the bottom arrow no matter what. So I would give the call out. You would think for a half second. It was like, okay, he said top, so I got to shoot the top, so I'm shooting the middle, and then that was it. And then I would just say top.
If you'd explained it like that, Patrick,
Yeah, I
think
would have been
would've-
on board 100%.
No,
Yeah.
honestly, I
That's a
still
very
think
reasonable way to
it's
go.
That's
less.
a reasonable way of doing it.
I still think it's less complicated for a lot of people if you're like shoot the top and you shoot the bottom, so top bottom. So then they're like, okay, I'm shooting the top, I'm shooting the bottom.
So the point
For
of
us-
call outs is that you call out the smallest thing possible.
But
Yes.
top bottom
And
is
people
not.
interpret information.
You know what?
from
You
said
and
call-out.
Datto should
Listen,
be.
this isn't a
should
WoW
be-
raid, guys. This isn't WoW.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I
Listen, wow.
completely agree with Holtzmann. You want to keep comms clear as much as possible. And we had plenty of times just in the entire raid in general where people were talking over each other because they were trying to do too many call outs at the same time. So the
context
shorter you
is-
can keep it, if I can just say top and people know what I'm talking about, it beats trying to say don't shoot the top or shoot middle and shoot bottom.
Well, no, you just say top bottom, and then they're like, okay, I shoot top bottom. I
Well,
feel like
that's-
it's short.
well,
I feel like it's short enough to be a reasonable call out.
Well, what I like is I think it's
I mean,
really
whatever works for
interesting
people is fine.
how many different ways there were to skin this cat, right?
Yes,
Like,
it's super interesting.
Watching, going back and seeing some of the VODs of the different raid teams and seeing what grew out of them organically on how to do stuff. One thing that I've noticed, and we're not at that fight yet, is like what people called the symbols,
Yeah.
like
Mm,
axe,
yeah.
dog,
Yeah.
wolf.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
the strategy for going around the circle was different for a lot of raid teams. Some people were keeping, one person stationary on each pillar and they would just turn to shoot other people's triangles. Other people were doing what we did and following our runner around.
That's
You
what
know,
we did.
It was
it worked
great, and it
either
was
way.
fun. It was fun, Briar, working in teams of 3. You
It
know, 2
was.
teams of 3, and then
It
running
was.
around.
At one point, we started like competing against the other team of 3.
Just because I was
who's
a
gonna get it done
warlock.
faster?
Just because I was a warlock and was challenged by design. All right.
I don't know, Tefty. She kicked your butt like several times.
But did you see when at the end when it counted, I was there first, and
When it
then I was the
counted.
last one
When
to
it
slam and got the win?
When it
You-
counted.
Notice how the only one that actually really mattered in the entire thing, the very last one, the 2 hunters, and then
The 2 hunters.
Tefty was there too, but the 2 hunters were the ones alive.
But I was in fact there, and I'm a warlock.
it's-
So yeah. By the way, I was a warlock
So-
because of CC Coon. So
It
I mean, I do have
was.
to say, warlocks are actually very good in the raid, but
Yeah, Arc
That's
Soul,
another story.
Arc Buddy.
We'll talk about the classes.
Hold up, I want to
and-
point out also it's very interesting how they set up 2 groups of 3 throughout the raid. In this time
Yeah,
around
they
as
did,
well, 'cause
yeah.
frequently.
that's usually a common theme how they do this, like 2 groups of 3 or 3 groups of 2, and how
Yeah.
strong it was of a 2 groups of 3 type of setup in this raid was very interesting. Like how important it was to be set up that way and work with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to kind of develop that chemistry. A lot of times, it kind of you set that team up at the beginning, and you just kind of keep working with the team and working with Watts and Pope, who I was working with for most of the day. It was very easy. We got better at it as the day went on. Too, our communication with each other got better and better as the day went on, to the point where by the end of it, we had it down pat. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I did want to talk about the loot a little bit before we go on to Calais, because this is kind of the point where we started exploring, looking for more loot, because we were getting a little frustrated. Like, we were opening chests and not getting anything.
500 glimmer.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was concerning, right, at first.
Oh,
before we
yeah, okay, I know
realized
Did
what
you
was
guys
going
get?
on.
Did you guys get an? What was your loot drop rate, Datto?
yeah. So basically, the very first door we opened, we got items. Then we got stuff at Baths, or we got like a key at Baths. We got a reward at Doggies. We got, I think, more tokens at Gauntlet, and then we got more stuff at the final boss. But every time you opened a door, after the first time, there was no loot in there. So I don't really know. I don't know if that was bugged, or I don't know if it's like, why are they still having? Why are they just taunting us with chests?
A glimmer
Yeah.
chest.
Just have nothing. Yeah,
Right, a lot
it
of-
was just a
there was a-
500 glimmer.
There were a lot of chests, right? And you'd finish an encounter, you'd open your chest, and you'd be confronted with a key that opens another chest.
Yeah.
Which
It was
is
a
cool
little-
because
it was a
it's
little
going
weird.
to increase our time exploring that world. But it's a little disappointing to, the elation of defeating this encounter. What am I going to get?
A key.
A key to another chest.
And some tokens.
And one of the things that I'm worried about is that they may have considered in the loot pool, because legendaries and exotics and stuff were dropping. We were getting XP. I got a bright engram during that. I got by the time we were done. Granted, we played for 14 hours, but
Like 20 at least,
I think I had
30 maybe.
the drop rate was about a exotic, or let's say a legendary engram every hour.
Every hour?
So I had about
No
That's
way.
a-
You're crazy.
More than that. I had 30 legendaries.
Yeah, I walked
Legendary.
Okay, I
away
did
from
not
that.
get 30. I didn't get anywhere near 30.
I
I
walked
was
away.
more
I
around
did.
15.
Close to 30 myself.
I was
Yeah, I
somewhere
was definitely
between
closer to
15 and
30.
20. Yeah. So there, I'm wondering if they're considering some of that part of the loot pool, that you're getting these drops.
I can't imagine doing it. Well, so for me, I walked away with 2 chess pieces and a bunch of tokens. That's all I walked away with.
I walked
Yeah,
away with
I-
arms,
I got-
cape, bunch of tokens.
I got scout rifle, chest armor, tokens, turned in the tokens, and got my clan reward, chest armor, a scout rifle. I got
this
2
same
duplicates.
thing. So did
2
I.
duplicates.
Datto, I
Interesting.
got 2 rocket launchers and 2 chess pieces.
You're killing me, Bungie.
Okay.
I
So
sure
the
did.
tokens,
me.
gave me the rocket launcher, which I was happy about. It's also interesting that you could take the tokens, and because it goes in your account pool you could raid with all your characters and then pop those
can,
tokens
yeah.
on the character that you have the least amount of loot for. Which
I hadn't thought
that's
about
I
that.
do like. I do
That's
like
actually
that.
really nice.
Yeah.
You just have to run the raid to unlock it on your other characters, so
Yes.
you can even turn
Yeah.
that in.
You can't enter the raid by yourself to go get those chests, right? You have to go in with a full fire team.
Let me.
Well, there's some
I can
doors
answer
that you have
right
to
now.
open with a team, right? With the
There's
levers.
definitely
the
there's
levers.
definitely
Yeah,
some,
you need.
I feel
Well,
like
I
you
mean,
can go in
the
solo
ones
if
that
you
you
want.
go in sequence, you might be able to do fast enough by yourself, but I know you do need to do them really quick. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's another set of levers that you need to do all at the same time anyway. So
It just let me launch it solo. So
Yeah.
I mean,
You
I'm
can
sure
get
you,
in there
I'm sure you
solo,
can go
of
in by
course, yeah.
yourself, but in
But I
order
don't
to
think
actually
you'd-
do anything,
Yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to get every single secret chest that's in there by yourself because
you
you do
definitely
need
bounce
to open
around
the
and
doors.
explore a little bit. That'd be
You can
actually really
explore, yeah.
handy. Yeah. But yeah, and it felt a little. I was concerned about the loot a little bit because it didn't feel super rewarding while I was doing the raid. But it does add replay value, I guess, to the raid. Going back in after you've done your weekly raid and getting some more loot out of it
Yeah.
is kind of a cool thing.
So
Mhm.
here's another thing too. The armor, at least the ones that I got, the chest pieces had nothing to do with helping me in the raid, and
Oh no,
neither did the
No.
rockets. Right? The rockets didn't have any kind of raid specific perk.
no, I got the submachine gun. I mean, it's a good submachine gun. I'm very happy with the submachine gun, but there are no perks on it that were specific to the raid, like a King's Fall.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
It
kinda
seems
thing.
like they've moved out of they've departed from that.
I don't know if
Other
I like
than-
that.
But there were a lot of empty slots, and this isn't the hard mode or the prestige mode yet,
That's
so
true.
that may change.
That would be interesting. But one of the really cool things about raid gear was the fact that it could make interesting builds specifically for the raid. Like I liked that. I liked.
I
if it
did
was
like
gonna,
that. I did.
Yeah, like you got Cocoon on the King's Fall stuff, and it was like that's an interesting.
Maybe-
Like
that's-
maybe on the pants, scions do not knock you up in the air.
Oh, nice.
That'd be
You know,
Heavy boots.
that'd be fantastic.
People would love those
Oh
boots.
my god.
Heavy boots thing.
there were so many times where I bet they were just designing the raid and just being like, "Yo, what if we did this really tiny thing that would totally mess people up and it'd be hilarious to us?"
and it would cause them to completely wipe and have to
Yeah.
reset 15 minutes
like
of hard work.
the scions on the final boss.
Mhm.
There was a tiny. I feel like there was a tiny part in the beast area where there's like a cave, but it wasn't like fully open, so you'd like try and sneak through it, but you couldn't. Something
Yeah.
like that. There were a couple
It's along
other
the
like
left
really,
wall.
really tiny things that were just like, what if we just did this for our own amusement because it would be hilarious to watch people mess that up.
Pretty sure.
I'm sure it's been
gotta
done.
be.
I'm sure it's been done.
Those scions were made.
I mean,
from
look
the
at
pits of hell.
look at Ledge Boss in Vault of Glass.
You're right. Yeah.
Can we talk
Yeah.
about Calais a little bit?
Let's do it.
You want to talk about the final encounter? This one's obviously super spoiler, but you finally find Calais. He's sitting in his throne room. He's sitting there lounging around, drinking a big old goblet of wine.
Doesn't even
And,
carry you there.
Doesn't even care, really.
Yeah.
And then you shoot the goblet of wine out of his hand, and he seems a little bit of annoyed. And that starts the raid encounter. And man, there's a lot of pieces to this raid encounter.
There is. There's a lot of moving components.
Yeah.
A lot of communication.
Yep.
For
very very comms heavy, and I think that's what. I think this is probably going to be the hardest LFG based experience
I
in
can
Destiny.
agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if people are hating the beast encounter, oh my god, they're not gonna like the final boss.
No.
Yeah, I would agree with you. That this one's going to be really tough. You have to split up into two teams. One team goes into the dark realm, and one team goes back to the throne room.
Mm-hmm.
And the team that's in the dark room sees symbols that they have to communicate back to the team that's in the throne room. And you have to kill a scion that's standing on top of the symbol that they don't call out. So there's a little bit of interpretation in there. And I got to say, Patrick, you did an amazing job.
Patrick, you did
Yeah,
do really
you did.
well.
Because
I think after a while,
12
we got
hours
so
in,
tired, we'd get
I was
confused.
not
Yeah.
able to comprehend what was being
I
said.
don't-
Don't worry. Fortunately, we did this for 8 hours straight, basically. So after around hour 4 of doing it, when they would say
Oh
three
my
things, it
God.
wasn't even okay, I heard these 3 things go to this one. It's just like, I'm just going this one. Like,
Yeah, it's just
you
muscle
guys would
memory.
you guys would say 2, and I was already heading to the one that it was probably it.
You did an amazing job, Holtz. I mean, I don't think you actually screwed it up once.
I
did
did.
3 times.
I did once or twice for sure.
But
Well,
for
it's
that
not a
much
big- it's
time
not-
and that much fatigue of being in the raid,
Mhm.
that is an
Yeah.
exceptional accuracy.
It
was rough.
wasn't a point on our end to point out when a mistake happened, because if the barrier didn't form, we would slide off. So there's no point in pointing fingers.
It's like I knew I fucked up if I
and
if I
so
Yeah.
you knew he fucked up.
We're all dead.
And
yeah.
we're dead. We would just say, "Oh, sliding off."
That's the thing too, is that encounter is so unforgiving, because the 3 guys that are in the dark zone, if they die, and there's a lot of shit trying to kill them because you're running forward or you're getting pushed forward. There's stuff shooting at you.
Forward.
There's holes in the ground. Sucked forward. Sorry.
Yeah, we
There's
had
holes in the
team
ground.
teleport and team suck.
And there's the scions that are just randomly popping you guys up in the air. Like,
Oh my god.
The
and then
amount
holes
of
in the
wipes
floor,
we had.
there's
If
a
one
lot.
of you guys died in there, it was over. Right?
It was close to it was close to like a wasted phase.
Were
Because
you-
doing those insides? Yeah. Or they
Datto,
or
were you on Team Suck or Team?
Yeah, I was on Team Suck,
Mhm.
and I had a couple of times where I goofed really hard, just thinking that I was in an okay spot, but I would get ramped off like the tiniest
It's
little
like a
thing.
little
Yeah.
little piece of
Yeah,
metal
just
that's just barely
something that
bent
you-
up.
Just something that you think is just like it looks like part of the geometry. It's probably not going to send me over, and then it does. And I kept doing the same thing a couple times over, and after like the second time in a row that I had done it, I was like, fine, game, I'm going somewhere else. Fine.
And sometimes the scions, it felt like they would spawn in and instantly do it sometimes, to where you didn't have much opportunity to kill all 3 of them. Like if 2 of you ended up shooting one and there was one kind of scion that was left for even half a second, they'd be like, take my purple ball, and you'd go flying.
We sort of had assigned people to do that, so we had left, middle, right.
We
Focus the scion.
just ended up, because you can kill the ones in the balls really easily.
Right.
We just ended up to where as soon as you see your sign, you say it and you just instantly focus the scions, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was mentally, and we had talked about this before the podcast started. Knowing the mechanic and now and being mentally fresh, I see that fight being a lot easier.
Yeah.
After
especially
a
having
while,
our damage phase down, so it doesn't
Right.
Well,
fatigue you.
So
Well, but my point is that once we got to a point in like 10 hours in,
Yeah.
we were making those little mistakes, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
for sure.
it's tough.
So you got that going on, right? You got that team getting messed with in the darkest zone, but you also got the team out in the throne room.
Yes.
Also a
who
rough
is
job.
confronted with the first gear check you have of the raid.
For sure. Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
If you're not properly leveled up, if you don't have the right weapons, it can be rough in that throne room,
Yeah.
right? It can be rough just to stay alive in that throne room. And you want to clear out the ads that come in before the other team comes back to do your DPS phase. And you got your runner who's going between the 4 pillars trying to kill the correct scion, getting shot at by everything in that room because he's crisscrossing the middle
Mhm.
of the arena.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Oh, you guys
like
had
that's
one
the
person.
first time.
Yeah. Holtz,
we had one
Holtz was
person
our
doing it.
designated Scion slapper.
Oh,
So we
okay.
had, so all of a sudden we hadn't been confronted with a gear check at all. Like it was feeling pretty easy as far as fights go. Suddenly, like you had to be able to DPS like the majors fast enough to get them down so that they wouldn't kill you. And if all of a sudden there were 2 of them running around that map, because those guys spawn in
So
as you're leaving the darkness zone.
So when I was running sword, it solved that really easily because I was able to kill those guys really fast,
Right,
and then
but
rock.
then you lose your heavy.
Right, and
heavy
then
weapon.
I'd rock devour and all that, and that was our strat initially. And it wasn't until afterwards it's switching to Stormcaller, getting Arc Buddy, and then just playing a lot more passively to kill those guys. We did a lot better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had people just like at first it was like, oh, just blow supers before any of this stuff happens to make orbs. And then it gradually became like, okay, we actually need to monitor our supers now. And even just using like one sentinel super made that that post teleport phase, like in between phase,
Yeah.
Right.
so much easier. We had
Right.
a Stormcaller, we had a Sentinel, and I think the other person was like a Golden Gun who saved their shot for boss damage. But even just having those, so you'd have you'd have Team Suck use their supers before the teleport phase happens, and then you would have Team Inside use their supers on that part to make it
Team
a lot
Slap.
easier. So it's a lot
Team
about
Slap, Team
super
Suck.
management.
And I felt like the what did you use for weapons as far as optimal DPS?
So I was using a 298 Borealis, just because it was the highest level thing that I had, and this was obviously going to be a sniper based fight. I think we had maybe one person using Merciless. We definitely had a couple of Celestial Nighthawk, Golden Guns in there. People really latched on to Cold Heart.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it seemed very effective. I don't know how truly effective it was, and obviously we got to go do some tests and stuff. But it seemed really good. It seemed really good.
My Cold
Patrick
Heart
switched
was,
to it, and his DPS went up immediately.
My Cold Heart was only 282 for that raid.
Yeah.
And then like a lot of my other weapons were significantly higher, and I was still like top of the damage every single time. The only time someone really like outdamaged these when Tepti switched to a linear fusion.
Tarantula. Yep.
Yeah. And was getting like consistent uptime with it.
So-
one of my clanmates as well loved linear fusion rifles in the raid itself, and I know he was liking linear fusion rifles.
Yeah, I gotta say, once I switched to Tarantula, actually, once I got a build where I could get rid of the knife, because I was like the elite guy. Yeah, or I would take care of elites in that room. And once I switched away from doing that and could use a Tarantula and I got the rhythm down, I was able to have 16 plus shots of the Tarantula every damage phase. And the numbers, for a while there, you and I were switching back and forth between highest DPS because I was also trying out the Cold Heart. And then switched to the Fusion. And the time that we wiped when I was doing the Fusion, I was 200k higher on that.
Yeah.
And it was,
One of the things that was really helpful is having the Titan reload barricade.
Yeah.
I feel like having the Cold Heart going.
Yeah,
and
that's
just
what made
being
Cold
able
Heart
to
so
just
good.
keep that just DPS going.
I was having a couple of issues with my I could have just been hitting wrong buttons. I don't know. But during the Force of Will phase, as part of Team Suck, for some reason it would just not work sometimes. Like I would just go for the crouch and it would just
based, because like
I
if I
too.
tried to use Pope Bears, we were both Titans. If I used mine and I stood exactly where I popped it, it worked fine. Just standing up and going down.
That would work for me.
Yeah,
that would work for me before the skulls came out. Like I would just test. I was like clicking a couple times, like, okay, it's working. And then I feel like it could have been just user error. Like I started to reload my magazine and then I hit a button and then it did some weird cancel thing and then it just didn't work anymore. It could have been that.
Well, one of the things, did you have any problems, Datto, with your Titan barricade not proccing the crest of Alpha Lupe health benefits?
I was not using a crest. I think
I had the crest.
One other person in my group was, and they were using it for the regen.
Yeah, I was trying to use it, and it didn't seem like it was. If like maybe the crest is bugged out on it, but I'm not able to get that health regen to proc. So it was
really. I used it and it worked fine. I ended up switching out for the chest that gives you like regenning auto rifle ammo because I was using Sweet Business for a while. But when I was using it, it worked fine.
Huh.
It wasn't something I was monitoring. I think we usually ended up burning like a healing rift on either the first or last circle that we did, or Force of Will damage phase that we did, just to arc soul the crap
what we
out
did.
of us.
Oh, the Arc Buddy was
Arc
so
Buddy.
good.
I can't wait to play
Friggin'
that
Arc
thing
Buddy.
with, like
Arc
6
Buddy.
warlocks.
I had it set up to where I was first Arc Buddy because we did top right and then clockwise rotated around. So I would pop Arc Buddy in the first one.
We did that as well.
Yeah, I would pop Arc Buddy,
So I was
and
gonna
mine was
ask
a
that.
healing one because I was trying to stay alive in the arena. So we had Arc Buddy there, and then Trey would pop Arc Buddy with Empowering on the fourth one. And once we got that down, our DPS just jumped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arc Buddy is the real MVP.
Arc Buddy is the MVP of that raid.
Yep.
I
It also
can't
helped
even
so much with
remember.
the skulls.
I can't even remember if we were using Empowering Rift or just Healing Rift. But even like we only had one Warlock, unfortunately. But I really can't wait to see like 2 or 3 warlocks in one raid with like triple empowering rifts with arc.
So
they
with arc
started
soul on
popping
them, like,
it in the
oh
dark
my
zone.
God.
yeah, Trey
And
popped in
the
Dark
amount
Zone.
of skulls, the amount of empowerment they were coming
It
out
was
with jumped
awesome.
from like 30 to like 60.
Yeah. What happened? Somebody
That's
recommended in
great,
chat. They
too.
said, "Hey, if you do Arc Soul when you're in the Dark Zone or the darkness or whatever, it was like a guaranteed 50+ goals. And then once that happened, every single time, if there wasn't a mistake, it was 50 to 60
almost 60
skulls. Yeah.
I think we averaged for the most part, basically in that range as well. But we were also really afraid of Calais having his shield explode.
Same.
So we never really tested the threshold at which you could kill him, and it wasn't until another math class group member came in and was like, "Yeah, so you guys can like you don't have to get him right away. Like you can just get him really weak, and then we can tell you like when to do it, and then you can do it." And then when we started doing that, we were much more consistently getting into that 60+ range.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that shield thing. Every time I was like, "Oh God!" And so I would Nova bomb it all the time.
You would Nova bomb right when it started.
Yeah, and it would drop it down to like a quarter because I was like, I don't want this thing blowing up, and it never blew up ever. And then we switched to just DPSing it, and there was a few times where I was like, "Oh God, is this the time? Is this the time?" And then no, it died.
By the way, I want to say how difficult it was for me that entire raid to not have a Magic the Gathering reference. Because
the Force of Will?
Yeah, because the buff that we get Force of Will is one of the most powerful Magic the Gathering cards.
Well, I made reference to All Might from My Hero Academia.
I just started watching that.
Yeah, no, but if you do the story again, you would just be going All Might the whole way through. The whole way through.
You guys.
That raid was epic.
It was, yeah.
When we finished it and it was down to the sliver, right? And then he gets a shield back, right?
Yeah.
He gets another one of those fun.
There's another one of those things.
Like, hope you save some ammo.
At this point, you should just know, right?
Yeah,
like at this point, it's what's coming.
At a certain point, we just all ran at him, shooting whatever we had. Just kept shooting and shooting.
We're like, don't
stop shooting! And I'm sitting there, he's dead on the ground, and I'm like,
Strider swinging a staff at his dead corpse. Just he might still come back.
We weren't
guys.
sure if he was dead or not.
You never know with Bungie. You never know.
Like the 8 hours we spent on that particular fight.
Yeah.
I feel like
it was rough.
If you had 6 people with linear fusions on that are high level, I think you could melt that boss in either 1 or 2 phases. With like
we came to about we were doing our second run. And 2 times in a row, we got into like maybe 1 or 2% in 2 cycles, like without even really trying to do it.
Was that linear fusions?
No, that was just just guns. Just
what I've seen
I think some cold hearts.
Yeah, to get like maximum damage on that is having 4 people be in the suck area to get the skulls, and then they've been 2-phasing him.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there is very risky room for 4
It's very
people.
risky.
Yeah, and what would you guys need to do in the gold room to have only 2 people there?
Have basically both people in the gold room would need to be able to like kind of do the punchy thing and control ads. Not have one person dedicated to it like we were.
I think it would be one person takes left side, one person takes right side, and then the call out would happen, and you would just figure out if it's on your side to slap it and then stay safe.
That's what we ended up
at a
doing
higher
in
level
general.
to do that with 2 people.
That's what we ended up doing in general on our second run was just like, okay, one person hold left side, one person hold right side, because the whole like crisscrossing, I was doing the crisscrossing stuff and I was just getting annihilated. So as soon as we went to a more like, I think Leopard was just like, why are you coming over here? Like I can just do it. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess you can just do it. And I can just stay on this side and it's way safer and easier.
Anytime we were going into the middle to do stuff, it was like, oh, you're probably going to die. But if you stay off to the sides, you're a lot better. Also, I ended up using...
Or if you were in a super.
Yeah.
Because like super, it's so hard to die in a super, I feel like, in Destiny 2. I don't know.
Let me tell you about Arcstrider then.
You're a hunter.
Arcstrider lasts so long though.
It only if you're using the exotic, otherwise it doesn't really last that long. Sure. But I had to go Arcstrider for the fight because I was going on punching duty and I was just taking all of the damage. I swear to God, Calais, like his I-beam was on me the entire fight.
Yeah.
So I had to go like Arcstrider transfusion so I could constantly just punch things and live.
I will say I was a little bit disappointed with that fight in that there never seemed to be like a singular hero moment, and maybe that'll emerge like once we get better and once we kind of discover more of the mechanics and exactly how they work. But it never felt like you could be that guy who, after your sword bearer dies at Crota, you could jet across the arena, pick up that sword, and do that one last swipe on Crota to finish off the raid and be the hero for your team. It never felt like it doesn't feel like there's that opportunity in that raid because you're separated into 3 groups.
It's not very forgiving at all.
Yeah. Like if somebody messes up, it feels like it's a game ender, not necessarily an opportunity for somebody else to pick up the slack.
It's basically felt like essentially a merger of VOG and King's Fall, where you don't have those hero moments. But I feel like Bungie said also is like, they tried the hero moment thing, and I don't know how much they really liked it. So that's probably why they're not really doing it anymore. They don't want they don't want teams to have to rely on one person to do this one thing, because if no one in your group knows how to do the thing, you kind of screwed. You gotta learn it over.
How successful do you think guided games are going to be with this raid?
I think they're going to be hugely successful. People are going to be looking to do raids like crazy.
I do think it'll be somewhat successful it'll be as successful or as unsuccessful as the player base wants it to be, right? Because the guided games is just the tool, right? If I'm holding a hammer, the hammer is not going to make me a better carpenter, right? It's just the thing that's going to help me do the job if I know how to do it. But if I suck, I'm going to hit my toe and I'm going to have to go to the hospital. But if I know what to do, I'm going to build a nice birdhouse. So nice I think ultimately, yeah, you're welcome.
How quaint.
My dad liked building birdhouses. Anyway, so I think it's ultimately going to just rely on how willing the community is going to be to accept maybe players who haven't done these kind of things before, and having the patience to bring them through.
Yeah.
Because I certainly think the carry culture, at least of doing raids on Twitch or something like that, this is not going to be like a Wrath of the Machine situation where you could theoretically bring in 5 completely new people, and as long as they've watched a guide or two, get through it in 2-3 hours. This is I would not dare bring 5 brand new people into this raid and myself and try to get through it. At least
you'd have to be explaining like the roles for both groups. It's a lot. It would be very taxing.
Yeah, but that's how King's Fall was too. It was really hard at the beginning, and then once the message got out there, how the mechanics worked, and when we got better at explaining how those mechanics worked, and maybe you got a couple of buddies who could help you get people through, all of a sudden it actually King's Fall became, unless you had a real
heavy weight.
Yeah.
I really think I think this is going to be the toughest raid to LFG and the toughest raid to try to do Sherpa stuff with, unless you're bringing like yourself and 3 other veterans, maybe even 4, and just do 1 or 2 people.
Frustration
I think you kind of
out the roof.
But
yeah, I think you kind of touched on earlier, Datto, how much communication has to come in.
You need a microphone. There is no more.
Yeah.
I don't have a microphone.
Yeah.
No.
Your PlayStation or your Xbox, it came with a microphone. Find that thing. I want you to plug that into the controller, and you got to talk to me.
yeah, you have to have a mic.
You need a mic.
So important.
You can't be in the suck and not call out.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
The game will not allow you to win.
It straight up doesn't allow. You can't. It's not just one symbol it's being shown, and like one person can call it out. Every single person.
I don't think you can even emote it, right?
No, you can't.
You're in different worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't have enough
tested,
emotes. You don't have enough emotes.
I will say, like with Wrath of Machine, I found that the sweet spot for Wrath of Machine was bringing in 3 other veterans. So you could, I think this is going to be in that same category. Once people understand it and have seen a few guides and so on and so forth, having 1 or 2 people that have never done it before, I think will be pretty doable. But just like you said, if you went in with 50% or higher of the team having no idea, it's going to be a very, very long raid, and it's going to be very difficult.
Actually, I don't see it being that difficult up till Calais. Once you know the mechanics, you can easily explain the bathhouse, and it's going to take people a while to figure it out for themselves because, to actually be there is different than watching it. But you can easily explain the bathhouse.
Gauntlet,
You
though?
definitely easily.
The beast, like, you know, if you
The Beast is
Gauntlet
gonna be easy.
Is a lot of
What,
that's like
what
20 minute
qualifies as
seminar.
what qualifies as a guided game?
The Beast is going to be easy. Once you get people together, we know the mechanics. It was hard because we were butting our heads up against. We were fighting the mechanics so hard for so long. But once you have everybody in a group of 4, and you have one guy who actually knows where to go, I don't think it's going to be that bad.
I think you're
unless you have that one
underestimating
idiot
the
who keeps
beast
doing it
really
on purpose.
hard. Because every single time I did the Gorgons, and it was like a veteran team, like people just messed up and got spotted by a
but there's-
Gorgon.
They just
There's a
ran
lot
a
of
little
people
bit.
who
They peeked
We're
out.
doing that on purpose too.
There was a lot of times where they weren't doing it on purpose, and it would end up, you know, it would be several wipes in. And so if you have people who don't know where those beasts are and they're down holding their pollen, getting up to the flower, and all of a sudden, oh, they've been spotted, you know, like that's going to be a challenging experience for a lot of LFG groups.
Yeah.
How many of you guys have spent any decent amount of time in LFG?
I spent a lot of year 1 in LFG.
Yeah, year 1.
Yeah.
I was the last time I did it.
Math class has had a Sherpa program that ran for like a couple months at the end of Rise of Iron. Beyond just doing viewer raids on rare occasion, not much.
Well, I'm just curious. I mean, when I was doing VOG runs and helping people with those, I think once you get over that 2 people threshold, you get out of that you're helping, you get out of the it gets extremely difficult. I could see this raid when I look at how difficult a raid is. Right now, I could probably feel comfortable taking one person through.
LFGs rely on the leader that emerges inside that group and the temperament of the people in it. If you got a leader, because every group is a leader is gonna emerge, right? And if you got a leader who is yelling at everybody and frustrating everybody, then it's gonna be a frustrating experience. If you got a leader who can calmly and coolly explain what the mechanics are and what you need to be doing, and ask what happened, what went wrong, and fix that, then you can go very far very quickly with an LFG. And if you got people who are willing to work together and communicate, I mean, it's luck of the draw on an LFG, but hopefully with guided games, you already have a group together.
Mm-hmm.
You need one extra, you need 2 extras. You already have that group together. You already have those people you can rely on. You grab a couple extras, or you just feel like, you want to donate some time to get some people through the raid. I don't think it's going to be that bad. The Calais fight is going to be rough.
People
I don't
have been
think the rest of the
struggling
fights are
with
gonna
this
be that
raid
bad.
though. Like I've talked
It's
to a lot
brand
of
new.
groups. I know, but I've talked to a lot of groups who have raided with each other, throughout most of the raids, and this is one that they're actually really struggling on getting down and completing
What
in
fight
one
in
run.
particular is causing it? Or is it just like multiple things?
I think so. One group was a lot are stuck on dogs. A lot of stuck on dogs for sure.
I feel like once the strategy on dogs gets out, where it's like, hey, don't kill any of them until the final round, and then you kill all of them. I think once that actually starts spreading, people are gonna clear that. No problem.
It's pretty fast.
I literally just got a message from my clanmate who said, yeah, we did a 60 stack and assigned people to go kill a specific dog, and they one-cycled it.
Yeah, and I think the dogs, when it's damage time, all run to the same place. So you can actually figure out where they go.
They all go to the same place. They go to the exact same place every single time.
Yeah.
So you can
Is it the
assign one
flowers
person to
that
go
they
to
go
each
to?
place.
Yeah, they rent the flowers.
There's
Just the flowers?
8 different flowers. They only go to, I think.
Is there 7 dogs?
I don't know how you guys did your call outs, but if you're facing the exit of the beast cave, mid left there wasn't one, and then there cave there wasn't. All the others.
We did 1, 2. We did like 1, 2, 3, and 4. But then at the same time, number 2 on each side was like cave or tree. So we probably could have done 1, 2, 3, and then cave tree.
Yeah,
how many beasts are there total?
Close 6.
There's 6. Okay.
Yeah, our call outs were just close, mid, far, and then like inner. We just called it. We called it. I don't remember what cave and inner, just middle.
Tree.
I feel like the hardest part of that is understanding how to communicate what flower. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you need to
use the call outs
come up
that
with
work for
system.
you.
You need to just come up with your own system, and then once everyone knows like exactly what they mean, you
you're
can
good to go.
pretty much you're pretty
What-
much good to go.
Let's take a second to talk about the clan reward system, because
Mm.
I don't know if
Some
you guys
people are
universal.
upset about.
There's a lot of mixed
It's-
opinions.
So
Yeah.
I had a group of my Rezo clanmates who completed the raid, and I went to see Hawthorne, and she
I'm
gave
sorry
me
to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt. I had a chance to play with some of your Rezo clanmates over the weekend,
Yeah.
and I got a surprise. They were actually nice people. My only contact with Rezo had been through you. I just assumed the rest of the clan was a bunch of assholes.
I thought you were going to go the reverse on that joke.
Yeah.
I was like,
no.
I gotta say, they were just a bunch of dicks.
Yes.
What is going?
No, absolutely. They're actually
Sorry,
really
go
nice
ahead.
people. I don't know why they let me in their clan. But it's they do a lot of stuff together. And so our clan reward system is filled immediately at the beginning of the week. And I go to Hawthorne and I got a raid rocket launcher.
Yeah.
It dropped it dropped at 10 light, but
Yeah.
it's a raid rocket launcher. I could possibly have not done the raid and gotten a raid rocket launcher.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
the two schools of thought are you should
Okay.
not get any kind of raid loot if you've never even done the raid loot. And then the other school of thought is your clan is helping other clan members for their work and you're getting rewards for being a part of a community. If there were specific attributes to the raid gear that really helped you finish the raid, then I think I would be more upset about this. But because it's essentially just skins on weapons, I personally don't care as much that you get some free gear, because the purpose of the raid is the experience and not necessarily the loot. Even though a lot of people look at it a different way, the loot is better than the actual experience. But for me, getting through a raid and having an experience is like the epic reward.
I actually have a thrilling Reddit post about me up right now. I literally woke up with a heart attack. I saw that in my Twitter feed and I was like, well, great.
Career done. Career done.
Surprisingly, people on my side. But anyway, yeah, clan rewards, given free items. I agree in that, part of the prestige of doing the raid is actually going in and doing the raid. But you show that prestige with the items that you get out of it, and
We're in the chatterway around the
with
tower.
gear, exactly. And I
Yeah.
feel like someone who over the course of 2 months maybe manages to get lucky and gets a full armor set without having stepped foot in the raid, kind of an FU.
But
Kind of feel like it's an FU.
let me just
I completely disagree
counter.
with you.
Let me
I
hold on
absolutely love
one
it.
second.
Okay,
let
counter.
me just counter real quick. They're not going to be able to get the shader, and they're not going to be able to complete the exotic quest, and they're not going to be able to get the emblem.
I still I'm not the most comfortable with it. I would prefer that raid loot stay in the raid and trials loot stay in trials. And
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
agree with
disagree.
Datto.
I want that
I'm-
separation. It's
I
the
do want
only
the
thing we
separation.
got.
Well,
It's
I love
There's
it.
not
I
a
get
whole
thing we
lot of
got.
end game.
My clan though, I get to provide like this gift to my clan for all the guys in my clan who don't necessarily have time to level up their character or don't have 6-hour stretches to do a raid. Like I get to provide this little
Okay,
gift. And
but
it's
can
only
I give
normal
like
mode
a
loot. It's not the hard mode loot. It's not the
Can-
prestigious stuff.
And I'm gonna say a really
Regular
mean
old
thing.
loot.
I'm gonna say too bad. I'm gonna say too bad. I'm gonna say the mean thing. I'm gonna
I
be
think-
the mean guy. I'm
I
gonna say
think this
if
is
you're not
just
doing the
a matter
raid,
of looking at it in two different ways. I
Yeah.
think it's really awesome that like I have an opportunity.
agree to
see that
disagree.
loot, and I think it's really cool that the people who don't necessarily get to do the normal mode raid get that loot. I could definitely see your perspective. I like
Yeah.
it. No
I-
doubt.
And
You-
same.
Well, can we
same
do a
with you.
middle-
I
a
totally
middle
see
ground?
it. I
Yeah.
totally see it. It's just agree to disagree situation. Like we're not
I-
gonna budge.
I think it is.
Just
well, I
agree.
think
There
But
is a-
I think
if
there
they
is a
give away the
middle
hard
ground.
mode
Hey,
Guys,
If they give away the
Hello?
hard mode loot,
Hello.
no thank you.
Okay. Never mind.
Hey,
Watts
Watts,
wants
what
to
are
talk.
you wanting to say?
I
Jesus.
think there is a middle ground for this thing. I'm with Datto where we have 2 end game things. When we have a nightfall where you can get a little aura around your head, but we have 2 end game activities: the raid and trials. I don't think you should get raid or trials gear from not completing that activity. But what I think you could get is super powerful engrams from your clan completing the raid or completing trials. So that would be a way for people in your clan to still get something from your clan members completing this. Like, they still get something super awesome, but they don't
like that
get
idea, Watts. I think
specific
it's a great idea.
raid or trial stuff.
I'll expand on that. How about something like that, where if you haven't done the raid yet, then you get those powerful engrams. But if there was some way of your account being flagged as having completed all encounters in the raid at least one time, then you can get some raid rewards.
I'd
would be
be
open to that.
totally
That'd be
down with
interesting.
that.
But
I would be open to that.
the only thing, though, guys, is that this is technically the normal raid. And I know that there's a prestige level with clearing the first normal raid as well. But you got to remember, once prestige hits, you cleared normal raid, there's prestige to that just in that moment right there. But when the hard mode / prestige hits, and there is different gear, I'm assuming there's going to be different gear, that's where it sets it apart, because you're going to want the adept version, essentially. If they put adept in these reward pools, then I would absolutely be against this and be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be getting the
I
adept
think-
versions. But
I think it
once
depends
adept
on the
hits,
loot.
I don't think it's going to really matter.
Do you guys think they're going to do
Yeah.
this for trials? Do you think that
Oh,
trials are gonna
100%.
get shared?
It's already in
100%.
the clan tab. It's
It
already
is.
there.
Yeah, 100%.
And I personally have no problem with shared loot gaining for the clan, because if anything, my argument is going to be about the clan is in a big way a social network of people who support each other to benefit to each other, and we all have different skill sets that we bring to the table, and we all provide a social atmosphere. And I don't think that there really is anything wrong with them receiving loot from somebody else's efforts.
I don't
Go
think
back
there's
to
anything wrong
Canada.
with loot. I don't think there's anything wrong with loot, but maybe just not raid specific loot.
And
give them something awesome,
I
you know?
think that Tefty's right here, that we're arguing about a point in this moment that is going to be moot in a few and when
Once
we
hard
get
mode's
the
unlocked,
prestige.
you're not going to care.
Because I
That's true.
think
It depends on the loot.
I think that it is
Right.
awesome that I am a PvE player and I raid a lot, and I'm going to be able to provide something to those slayers that jump into my team, that play trials all the time, and we can benefit each other, and we can work together as a family. And that's ultimately what this is about. Let's think about what this purpose is for. It's to create community, create long-term friendships with people. And how do you do that? You do that by helping each other. And what can you
it's
do?
about alienating each other and telling us how much
Creating
better I am than you.
elitism.
It is not that. It is
Elitism,
about
The ethos of math
family.
class is to
It's
create
about
elitism
friendship.
in the community.
It's
Come
about
on.
creating
Math class.
It's about creating
Yeah.
a loving environment where you feel like you're part of a group and you're benefiting them and they're benefiting you.
I
And I love
think
hold on.
it-
I got 1 point to make with the trials argument.
Okay, then Watts.
Yes,
because we've been
Watts after
interrupting
this.
here.
Yep. I got 1 point to make after the towards the trials argument, in that, should people get trials gear for not doing trials or getting to the lighthouse or whatever it might be in Trials of the Nine? A lot of DDoSing occurred because people couldn't get to there, so they went to these methods like that. If they could potentially get that loot out of the clan thing, instead of resorting to really annoying, awful tactics that kick people offline, there's a silver lining in that.
I want to expand on that. Watts, go first.
So I think it would be way cooler if clan rewards were specific, like clan rewards. Like, you got a clan specific gear set, clan specific guns by getting, for example, the Crucible, Nightfall, Raid, and Trials. Like, this is your clan. You managed to get your clan rewards and you get a specific thing. I personally think that would be cooler. In regards to Trials, Trials is the hard mode raid. There is no harder version of Trials than reaching the lighthouse. So I don't know what the argument's going to be there in terms of the loot pool for clans getting, a light level 10 Trials of the Nine weapon.
But
Right.
if you don't
depends
want
how they
them
do
to
the
get
loot, though.
the shit, just kick them out of your clan.
Well,
It's not really
I think
about
it's
that.
not.
That's a good point,
we don't,
Briar.
we don't, we
That's
don't
a
live
really
in a
good
perfect
point.
world. We don't live in a perfect world. I'm sure there's already websites set up, ready to go to have all this happen. Tafty, to expand on your thing,
Yeah.
you say, oh, people DDoS people because they want their
also,
loot and this and
it's
that.
not going to remove DDoSing. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the frequency could
yeah.
drop.
But then I also feel like, don't the cheaters win then?
Well, if they put
Because
dedicated servers, then there wouldn't be a discussion.
If you implement these things like, okay, well, people are just DDoSing people, so let's just give them free loot, right? Doesn't it feel like they win then? Like, shouldn't they do more about trying to get rid of the cheaters as opposed
It's
to
not
just
about
It's
giving
Bungie's,
them loot?
it's Bungie's control. They could put in dedicated servers for that mode, and it wouldn't be a problem then at all.
And it is Bungie saying over and over again that their game is about creating community. So that's why we're seeing the
What a
shit
bunch
we're
of
seeing.
losers!
All right, Datto.
Community doesn't care about the loot.
I think a lot.
Don't they? I'm pretty sure they do.
In Destiny 1, that was one of the, like, people would pay high dollars because they wanted to go to the lighthouse and get loot. Specifically
You're
have
a
that.
millionaire right now.
We have that one weapon, I don't even remember which one because I could care less. Yeah, that was the, the prestige of having the gear. This is like, okay, so you didn't get to experience the mode, but you're getting some of the gear. And again, to Briar's point, if you don't want people getting rewards that are in your clan, then you are more than welcome to kick them out of your clan. Plain and simple.
I really don't think that's the argument, though. It's more so just like you're having trials and the raid be this prestigious end game thing to achieve and look towards and train for, and people are getting that stuff without doing it.
There is the adept version of the trials gear, right? I mean,
like I said, it
Is
really
there?
depends
I
on
don't
how
know.
they do the loot.
I mean,
If there's
that.
ornamented armor, then that's awesome. Fine, let people get the regular trials gear. That's great. If it's a big difference between, hey, you completed this hard thing, this end game thing, and then your clan has the other stuff, I think that is totally fine. It all depends on how they're going to do the loot.
I just think it's funny.
Yep.
I mean, like, you're forming these clans together, and people are making choices to be a part of these clans. It's forming more community. Like, there should be a reward for that stuff. I do agree that if it's something very specific, like if you could unlock the quest exotic, let's say there's a quest exotic for Trials of the Nine, and you could unlock it without doing Trials of the Nine.
Which there won't be.
Right. Well, if there was, I would be very disgruntled about that. If you could unlock the quest exotic for the raid without doing the raid, I'd be disgruntled about it 100%. But that's not the case. It's just some gear that has literally no perks towards completing those events.
It's a good point, Dempsey. That you have the raid shotgun. You completed the raid, you have the shotgun. If you didn't, you don't get the shotgun.
So here's to me it's a simple problem. D1, over 60% of the people never accessed end game content. All right? So how do you get them to plug into a system where they can be a part of getting to that end game content?
Guided games.
One of the ways of doing that is guided games and being part of a clan. That's how you do it. It's the vehicle for getting people engaged in community. They start off by taking a little bit. The first time it's free, it's a sample. You know what? They go to guided games, they get a little hit, and they go, "Ooh, that feels good. Wait, these guys are awesome. Maybe I should get an invite into their clan." And the next thing you know, you're getting a clan reward. And then, oh my God, hey, I want to contribute to this. I want to be a part of this. So then you jump into the next raid. It's not the short-sighted thing that you guys are talking about. It's the end game of community that 3 years down the road, when we've got 1 million people in clans, instead of this garbage 60% not able to access end game, that's when the game becomes what it is. Not the way that you guys are talking about it.
But they still can't access the end game. Like, they still can't play it, right? I would love for them to experience it.
They will. They will. It's you got to introduce them.
I feel like the main
hold on. They're incentivizing you to join the clan by giving you this raid gear, right? So you join that clan, you become part of the community. That's the draw, right?
You got to have something to suck them in. And get them part of it, and then feel part of that thing, and then they have friends online that they can talk to. That's the key. LFG is never going to work. Guided games introduce players to other players that have microphones that want to talk and want to play.
But I feel like you could do all of that without also then just giving them free loot.
How do you get people wanting to join a clan?
Because I personally feel like
incentivize people to join a clan.
I personally feel like the people who are miffed at missing the raids didn't necessarily just want all of the gear out of there. They just wanted to see the place. They just wanted to be part of the experience, right? More so than they wanted the gear.
Yeah. Gear rules this game.
Some of them, yes. Some of them, no.
So then you can see my perspective. Gear rules this game.
But
so
the
I
point
wanted
is
to
the
stay
game
special.
isn't built for you. It is built
I know
for
that.
Bungie's 80% of the community, of which the majority did not do the end game. So they didn't make this game for you or the people on Reddit. But they made it for the people who are not able to get those rewards.
Yeah.
I realize
that this is going to get them into it.
But I still think you shouldn't throw those people away who
they're not throwing you away.
Sorry,
man.
not throwing it away. It's
All
not that
All
phrase.
Right. Okay.
I still think you still need to consider that audience regardless.
Sure. They're low light level and it's very low drops.
Again, you're not gonna get the raid exotic if you don't do the raid like that.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Something I think that Bungie should consider is, they have the guided games thing. World of Warcraft has the LFR raid experience, right? Where everything's like super nerfed, like mechanics aren't as heavy, it's not as hard, you don't get as good rewards, but the main point of getting into LFR is either one, getting a taste of the raid and seeing if they want to keep doing it more, or two, just getting in the place and like doing it together with some people and just doing it and getting the experience of it. I feel like that's the thing that people want more, as opposed to just like, I want to be decked out in a full set of raid gear, blah, 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 without doing the raid or without doing anything. That's the thing that I think people want more so than the loot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
that's my
we're
experience with trials as well, though. That's my
deviating from
experience
the
with
main
trials.
topic here, though. But
Yeah,
That's no. I think this was a really great conversation. I appreciate you guys, dipping into it.
for sure. There's definitely multiple viewpoints.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
think anybody's wrong. I think Watts.
No.
I think this is
Watts
mainly
nailed
going to
the
be
middle
just.
ground pretty well, though. I really liked her idea.
This is mainly just going to be like an agree to disagree thing, right?
I think so.
I had
I know.
6 to 7 years of super hardcore World of Warcraft raid experience. I've been doing this for 3.5,
All right,
what is it,
let's
3
move
years
on.
now.
Let's move
So
off this one.
yeah,
it's just agree to disagree.
Patrick, tell us about something you like.
These wild mics and headphones are the things that I really like. Because
that's horrible. I'm stepping away.
It's just the iconic gear that Blue creates here, okay? These wild mics and headphones are the driving force behind professional musicians, internet creators, and countless elite gaming teams and Twitch streamers. Their Yeti USB mic is the internet's most popular microphone, okay? It's most popular. You know what that means? It's number 1. Go on Amazon. It's number 1. Their MoFi, or the Sadie and Lola headphones deliver insane sound and a very personalized fit. Let me tell you, if you want to learn more about these awesome wild mics and headphones, you need to head over to bluemic.com.
Nice, Holtz. That was quite the palate cleanser. I feel like we're all friends again.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys noticed, I went completely silent during that because fuck that.
All right, let's do some Twitter questions here. Ren Sullivan says, how many Pop-Tarts did Datto eat when him and Holtz did that video?
We only ate about like 2 or 3.
That's
No,
right.
was a taste.
Combined?
It was a
No.
taste.
We had a lot, dude.
No, we tasted a lot. I didn't completely eat a lot of them.
Okay,
maybe
you
3 to
didn't.
4.
Maybe
You
you
did.
didn't.
You did.
I ate a lot of Pop-Tarts.
I was eating the whole half of the Pop-Tart that you gave me, just about
I
every
was not
time
doing
until
that.
the end.
Why? That is not how wine tastings work.
There you go.
Um,
Pop-Tart tasting is like wine
That's why I should have brought the bucket to spit all that in.
I was wondering where the bucket was.
Probably. Sean Dawn says, who is the best Datto? Datto or Discount Datto?
Mm.
Can the real Datto do solid ad segues into these wild mics and headphones?
I don't know. We
Yeah.
should let him try.
If you gave me the ad read, or if we ever did that thing where I came to your apartment and I was you for the podcast while you go play Magic or whatever. We still haven't done that.
No one
No,
would
we
notice.
still
that's-
haven't done that.
That's a thing you guys have been conspiring?
Yeah, we've been conspiring to have him just come over and it'd be like, no one says anything different, nothing happens, just Datto's gonna be there.
I
Just
would
in my
just
chair.
be at Holtzman's place and he would go
Holtz.
do something and then I would do the ad read.
Holtz, I think you have an addiction. You need to seek counseling for your Magic the Gathering need.
Said from a guy who just put about 100 hours in a week into Destiny.
Yeah.
I'm a streamer.
Oh, it's my
It's my
job.
job.
It's like Tefty is that guy that works at an alcoholic that got a job at a brewery.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just like, it's my job to taste the beer. What the hell's
You
your
think I'm not gonna go pay my bills? Unbelievable.
cheers?
Joe says, do you think the raid is too complicated for casuals?
Define casual.
I'm not. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we stop equating casual with bad?
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's what happens.
Yep.
You can be
Casual.
a casual player and be an
Thank you.
excellent player,
Pope is
right?
casual
You can be
and
a
he's
hardcore
good.
player and be terrible.
You can
It's
be
very
a
true.
casual player and be a good person that's fun to hang out with and have a great gaming night. You don't have to have
And then you
optimal
can be
DPS
Pope Bear.
to be a good person to hang out with.
I
Which
mean,
is
you need
which
optimal
is-
DPS to be a good raider.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. You can have a good time and
The
not
beasts
be.
don't care about comedic relief.
Yes, but your clan does, and having fun hanging out is what this is about. And if
No,
you can get through it with lots of laughs and at the end of the night have a good time, then that's what's great.
To actually answer the question, I feel like it depends. I feel like everyone's range of what constitutes a casual player is some people might think like if you're this and this and this, you're a casual player, and if you're anything not, then you're this. And I think it's all individual skill levels, right? You can be a casual player and be a really good player. You can be a hardcore player and be awful, right? So I think it ultimately depends on skill level, not how much you play, because good players can play a little and bad players can play a lot.
But what do you think about the raid being difficult for people who
think-
are gonna have say
LFGs or
7 hours a week to play?
If we are going to average the entire community together into one person, I think that this will, at least at the current moment on our thoughts about the raid, is going to be one of the harder LFG experiences that we've had in Destiny for across all raids. Now, ask me this again in March, and maybe I have a different answer. But right now, it feels like it is easily the hardest LFG raid.
That's what I thought about King's Fall too, and it got to the point where I could tell people exactly where to stand in the King's Fall raid and literally get somebody who'd never touched a controller through. Like it was like King's Fall got that easy by the end of it. We had a year to work on King's Fall.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
feel like
very
it'll
early
get there.
for this.
It'll
So-
get there, but just right now, it's like
Yeah, it's very early.
Here's the thing, though: should Bungie make raids that are completable by most or very difficult?
I think it would be a disservice to make this is why they don't have matchmaking, right?
Mhm.
Because I feel
Yeah.
like it would be a disservice to intentionally make the end game activity a lot easier just so you could actually have matchmaking.
Yeah.
Because I think most of the game is already very, very, very accessible.
Mhm.
And I think it's okay to have that one thing where you got to put on the big boy pants and you got to get it together.
I'll say if the raids got dumbed down and became very easy for most people, there's no way that, say, the channel, the directory in Twitch would explode like it does when a new raid comes out. I mean, I think Goth had like 80-something thousand viewers, and that's because the excitement of seeing new content that is PvE that's also difficult drives just a ton of interest into it. So if they started going down that path, I think the excitement level for the game would also follow towards like a down cycle. So we need extremely difficult content, and I hope that prestige mode adds even more difficulty. That
If there's
I hope it
difficult
destroys me.
content,
yeah, same.
if there's not difficult content, what's the point of going out there and getting all this awesome gear, right? If you're just breezing through all the content anyway, like who cares what gear you have? There's no reason to use it. There's nothing
It's
to shoot
about
with that
having
awesome new
fun.
gun.
I don't think there's any casual player that's got a regular job, 3 kids, and has a couple hours, maybe an hour to play a night, or whatever, that's gonna say I want the game to be easy. They know their life is about that they got to work a lot, and that it's probably not going to be. They're not going to be able to do worlds first. They don't even want to. They're the guys watching your stream, donating to you because you're entertaining. They're going to watch, and they're going to build up their light level over the next month or two until they're very max light, and then they're going to eventually step in there when they've got a group of buddies together, and they're going to try it, and they're going to be excited for 2 months down the road to play the freaking raid. Mm-hmm. So you guys just they're going to have
the guided games.
They're going to get into guided games. So this is the way it works. So casual players have no problem lifting up those people that are good at the raid and saying, "Hey, yeah, you guys are great. You're great." That's fun. And then they're going to come in later, and they're going to do it much later. So don't make it easier, in my opinion.
I've gotten contrasting opinions. I think every day I get, well, I'm not unemployed, so I can't do that. So Bungie, should do this. Like I get that all the time. The top Reddit post right now is about me going off on someone who said, Bungie made a game for YouTubers and streamers, and I can't play 24 hours a day. So whatever. We still get. We're always forever gonna get that.
Sure.
We're always forever gonna get that. But there's also plenty of players out there who also have the same viewpoint as you, where they don't want it to get nerfed down just for them.
Right.
And I think that's a good move that they don't.
I love sitting.
That Bungie doesn't do that.
I know I can't go out there and play football. I love watching NFL football. I love it, but I can go out and throw a ball with my friends and have fun on a Saturday afternoon in a park. Right. So watching you guys play is a lot like me watching a football game. I know it's unattainable for me for the average player. But if I work hard and I get together with an afternoon group, I can go and I can have some fun with my buds playing football.
Perfect. I will say this. Perfect. If they are going to continue down the path and make raids even more difficult, then I think they should take the page out of WoW and make the easy version.
LFR.
Yeah, whatever LFR. It is. That easy raid that you guys were talking about, and then the normal, and then the hard. And then I think that's what they're gonna have to do to appease the community if they are gonna keep going.
How does WoW do it? Do they release the LFR after the normal raid comes
out?
No,
the LF no. At least now the LFR releases before the normal one.
That sucks.
What? No, it doesn't.
I thought
there's no way they release LFR before normal.
Okay,
mode.
never mind.
I'm pretty sure.
I wanted to say one thing real quick about the LFR system. It's a really cool thing, because it allows a player who just maybe wants to get the story aspects of the encounter, or just to go in and maybe just shoot some things in the raid. That's a really cool thing. The one thing that it lacks, though, is for the player that is wanting a challenging activity, what ends up happening is it's dumbed down so much that it gets like it's boring to them. That's what happened with me with looking for raid and WoW.
Then that person steps up to the normal mode into the prestige mode.
Sometimes
you would need that. I mean, that person would need to find a guild, and then they would need to set up the
that gives
time.
Them rewards.
Blah blah blah.
They thought of this. They thought of this.
The person that Holtzmann's talking about that was looking for a challenge. They're not looking for clan rewards.
No,
they're looking to be part of a clan.
Okay. So
and be challenged.
So I would like to see again. We haven't seen the prestige level of this raid, and I don't know if they're going to do like heroic and prestige, or heroic has been officially converted to prestige now. But I am very excited to see them pull out all the stops and make a ridiculously difficult prestige mode, because that would satisfy quite a few of us, and also making it a very strong carrot on a stick to want to try to achieve that level with a group for people.
Let's see here. Oh, I'm not touching that one. I'm just going to open up that bag of worms again. Trent says, everyone rank all the raids so far. So I know it's early. I know it's not fair to, we could be talking about how good this raid is 3 months from now, because it could totally change, based on mechanics. But just initial impressions. What do you guys think?
Love it.
Where does this rank in the pantheon of Destiny raids?
I already gave mine, so you already know mine.
It's fantastic out of awesome.
Yeah.
It's really tough to judge right now, because
I find it really hard to judge.
I still don't know where to put it, because
it feels
it felt
very
like
different.
It felt like a fusion of basically a lot of the raids past, There were definitely some unique ways that they went about doing certain things, like the gauntlet was very interesting and how they handled it. But yeah, I'm not sure where to put it just yet. I definitely had a very good time, but right now it feels like, I don't know. It feels really tough to judge because like aesthetically, set design, top of the charts.
Yeah.
How we doing everywhere else? I think
It takes a while
out.
to judge that. It takes a long time.
Aesthetically, it definitely feels like this is they finally have kind of the freedom to do what they want to do. Like they weren't hindered by last gen, having to make areas smaller than they wanted to. So I definitely like that the world environment team got to kind of go all out on making this.
They could add more enemies to encounters.
It made this feel like the grand thing it was supposed to be, which is what when you step into like the first thing I thought of when I stepped into this raid was Black Temple from World of Warcraft. Like this felt like walking up those huge ass stair steps to actually go into Black Temple.
I actually felt when we got inside, it kind of felt like Uldaman a little bit.
Yeah,
the level 40 dungeon.
Yeah.
It's like, this is Uldaman.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are nerding out on WoW raids.
Can I please have one thing
actually,
on this podcast?
Uldaman was a dungeon.
You can have WoW or you can have Magic.
My
You
bad.
cannot have both.
Can you reference a Magic card that this raid was like?
No pathway.
No,
Please,
what are you doing,
God,
Pope?
no, Jesus,
What are you
Pope.
doing?
Okay, one point that I want to make.
Yeah.
If you
Not
had to
really a
use
point, actually. That's something I hope that's in Prestige, is that we see like a fleet of tanks coming after us. Maybe they...
I just want to see naked bathers, to be honest. I just want, forget the towels. We go to the bathhouse.
Prestige has naked
mode,
bathers?
Naked bathers.
Man.
I
have
just
to
would like
confirm
another
your
I don't know
boss.
that I want to see
before you
Cabal
get
Junk.
in.
I just want to see another
we didn't
boss
see
in
a
there.
single
I want to see a
tank.
hard mode boss.
We didn't see a single tank, and Cabals have tanks. I want tanks.
Well, I don't think you're dealing with a typical Cabal here.
You're going after the Emperor here. This isn't
I want
the
tanks
run of the mill.
in the
I want a
bottom
gold
area.
tank.
Like they,
A gold tank.
Gold, yeah, golden tank. It's like an
A
opulent
gilded
drug lord.
tank. To cross the bridge, you have to fight a gilded tank.
Love it.
I'll say this.
I feel like
Back
we
to the
should
question.
escape in tanks. Like,
Back
you
to
kill
the-
the boss, and it's a self-destruct, and you gotta leave.
That sounds
Back to
amazing.
the question.
That would be really cool.
I don't know if anything can ever beat Vault of Glass for me because it was my first person raid. Like it was just, it's so memorable and such a great experience. Like no matter what they do with raid mechanics and what they do with like the graphics, it's so hard to beat that first that feeling of wonderment that I felt when I went into Vault of Glass for the first time. It's really hard to beat that for me.
I feel like I've gone past that. I've been blown away by this game.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 has checked off so many boxes for me, from Destiny 1 to just what I want in a incredible game. And this raid just was like, here you go. Here's friggin' excitement, exploration,
Yeah.
imagination.
I really enjoyed this raid. Just the way it looks, the music that kicks in, the gauntlet where you're just like, I'm going to run through hoops and grab balls. It's just just a really fun kind of moment.
What
and
makes-
then going into the darkness as well, like seeing that for the first time with his face, and you're like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And then skulls start being puked up. You're like, what? It was
I still
all.
have no
it
idea
was-
what that looks like.
It was
I
so
do really like the
gross.
final boss. Like every final boss since Oryx has had that big reveal at some point, and it's like Oryx was just like, he's gigantic, and then Axe is like, oh, he's actually a giant spider tank, and then this one's like, holy crap, that's his giant head. Like
You're like, wow, he's
I like
ugly.
those
One of the
moments. Those
things-
moments are
One of the things that takes this raid and puts it above Vault of Glass, because I really feel like Vault of Glass is such a good raid mechanically, is that I feel like the campaign and lore of Destiny 2 really brought me into the raid with a story leap into it, with a story walk into it. I felt like I knew what I was doing there and why I was there.
Really?
Yes. I felt like
If I hadn't bought the collector's edition, I would have had no idea. Like, why all of a sudden has the Cabal changed from this militaristic society to this like decadent society? And
They're different.
It's on Nessus. If you do all the adventures on Nessus and actually pay attention,
yeah. So that's part of it. It's like if you're playing the campaign and you do the adventures and you hear the story, going to do the raid makes total sense.
Okay.
You're the Emperor. You hear a lot about the Emperor, and so you'll go there and you know this. You know, you're going to this to meet the Emperor, and to see him be this person that's like, so he's got all this money and wealth and power, and he doesn't have to fight you. You're a plaything, and he's got thousands of his bodies. You know, you just went through this epic battle to destroy him, and then you go into this other room, and there's thousands of those.
And you are like, so insignificant compared to him and everything he has.
Yeah. And then you realize that, so your mind's being blown by the scale of it, and then the next cutscene, you're even blown even further with the darkness, right?
The triangles.
The triangles.
Space Doritos.
Tyler Kelly says, bigger plot twist, ending of The Sixth Sense or dropping Calais' first bar of health. My team just stood in awe and had to wipe for the first time.
We got blown up by a giant...
We didn't stand still. We got hit. We got shot running.
It was a pretty interesting reveal there.
It was. It was
a
pretty interesting reveal there. Yeah.
Like, wait, he's a robot? Is he clapping with his robot arm?
Yeah, he does.
He's like,
I can't take him seriously. The clap, I can't do it.
The lights to turn off. You know, he's like,
yeah.
I expected like scions to come in with plates of grapes. Like eat.
That would be maybe that's in hard mode, the prestige mode. You have to fight more scions, more old men scions with great.
You have to fight. You have to fight the help. The help comes in.
The help.
Maybe it's Sweeper Bot is the in the prestige mode.
I thought that was so funny when we.
It was
back
amazing.
To the tower.
Yeah.
The rewards from Sweeper Bot.
That was amazing.
The Emperor's emissary in the tower.
Yeah.
Is Sweeper Bot? Yeah.
And he's still sweeping.
Randy Soros says, do you guys think that Calais was built by someone or some group of Cabal to rule over them for eternity? So this is what Tefty was talking about.
We talked about this earlier, yeah.
I really feel like you said, he went to go consult or confront the darkness and came back. Maybe controlled by the darkness. I don't know. It's fascinating.
There's lore on each piece of armor, actually, that's really, really interesting. Because you get to hear the story about a lot of that.
Wait. Let me just think. This. What if there's the darkness is can control or create mechanical beings, right?
The Vex.
And then you see the Vex, and then also how we get the existence of the Traveler creating the Exos.
Oh. Fair point, Pope. Fair point.
Robots.
Traveler creating the Exos.
Well, the Exo. What? Have we gotten a good explanation?
Yeah, Cade was around before the Traveler.
As an Exo?
No.
As an Exo?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Cade saw the darkness firsthand. He was one of the first people he saw. A bunch of people die to it. He was I believe he was like a. I'm serious about that. Cade was around before.
Wait a minute. I thought Cade was alive during the Golden Age.
Was it the Golden Age?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the Traveler
He used to be
arrived.
human.
Yeah, he used to be human.
Yeah, he had
a wife.
Okay, I'm remembering timelines wrong then.
He was created during the power during the Golden Age, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so he was there.
I guess it would be cool to see if the darkness is the counterpart to the light in that way.
I'm always nervous to talk about lore because I have no idea, and I never want to say something that is clearly wrong because people will be like,
just speak confidently like I do, and then get corrected, and then just be like, "Oh, well, I'm misremembering it."
I can do that
so
all
much
day
going
long.
on.
I just don't want to end up on front page on Reddit like Datto.
I'm usually at least people are agreeing with me right now. Reddit doesn't hate me. Feels good. No, I'm usually caught up in the lore, but this time around, it's just been like video, shove piece of chicken in mouth, video,
public event,
video. Yeah. So I haven't had a chance to do any looking yet. So I'm just I'm just deferring.
Danny Eel says, "Hey DCP, love the cast. My question to you guys is, with me being 275 light, Should I try the raid or should I grind some more?
Try it.
Try it.
Try it.
Try it.
Uh,
260
it's
to 280, baby.
yeah, 260 to 280. You're 275. Do it.
I will say you want to make sure you have your weapons lined up, and have a good scout. Maybe get the scathe lock. Have a couple options for energy weapons. If you can get a tarantula or a coil.
Yeah.
What is
No,
Datto
let's-
mouthing
let's-
to me right now? I can't see.
Nothing. I have someone on Discord telling me to do things.
Okay,
Never mind. Ignore me.
Sexual.
man,
Those
the royal pools.
pools.
and the cabal balls.
Get into your
let's
head.
point out that the tarantula is actually the tarantella, right?
Is it tarantella? Because the tarantella.
Yes.
What really?
I'm pretty
It's
sure
it's
Noose
not a
said that it's the tarantula.
It's the
And he
tarantula.
found it funny that people were pronouncing
I
it
think
tarantula.
it's tarantula.
It's 100% the tarantula. I called it the tarantella because of the
Oh,
chess
is it?
piece. I called it, because
Yeah.
back then I was like tarantella, and on playing Destiny, people were like, Jeff, you can't pronounce things, blah, blah. I was like, it's actually the
I thought you
tarantella,
guys
a
were
Mexican
talking about
dance,
it being
nerd.
tarantella.
Yeah, the tarantula, it's called because there's the scorpion, the tarantula, the whatever. It's insect theme.
Talon Keel says, do Titans lack support for the raid?
Exact opposite. In fact, they're kind of amazing.
They're definitely not as good raid buddies as they were in Destiny 1.
Because they don't have Arc
definitely
Buddy.
not.
Destiny 1,
Their wall has a place. The rally barricade definitely has its place. Or even the big wall. It's all good protection. I was using my wall during the bathhouse to like block doorways for a short time. So like if anything came in, they would get stunned and take a little bit of damage, or they couldn't just shoot in from the outside. Otherwise, I like the beast garden. You're not really using your class abilities that much in general. The gauntlet, you're not really doing it that much in general. Bathhouse, definitely people are using it. And then on the final boss, definitely people are using it. So is it as effective or useful as a Warlock Rift, especially an Arc Soul Warlock Rift?
This
Maybe not.
It's more of the warlock, I think.
I think Destiny 2 is more of a Warlock,
Yeah.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
That Devour,
Thanks to
bro.
the discovery of Arc Soul.
Mm-hmm.
Our soul's
So
so
yeah,
nice.
they still have a place. I think you can bring it's definitely not as segmented as Destiny 1 was, where like you have to be this or you suck. No,
I
it's
think-
like you
I
can come
think-
as
I think-
anything.
I think
the
we're
bubble
gonna
was a
see-
cure-all for all ails in Destiny
Yes.
1, right? It's like you could get extra damage, you could get your health back, you were protected in there. I didn't find a need for a bubble once during this raid.
Well,
You don't.
What are you
you
gonna
almost
do?
don't
doesn't
wanna
help-
use it.
It doesn't help you because it doesn't have the blessings
Yeah.
or
It
weapons.
doesn't have any
Yeah.
It's
buffs
not
on
really that great.
It's
for
going to
it.
be great
It
for
is-
trolling. You could troll by knocking out
Yeah.
one damage
Oh,
phase.
for sure.
Yes, that's
Renders
It
It's
is
bubble.
100% protection. It is 100% oh shit button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inderjeet Singh says, what are some suggestions you have for us blind raiders? I'm still waiting for my clan. They get hit by Irma. Sorry to hear that. That's terrible. I hope
My
everybody comes out okay.
suggestion would be to just have all your weapons together, level yourself up as much as you can. Don't
listening
read
to the
any
podcast.
guides. Stop listening to this podcast. What are you doing?
If you've
Too
made
late.
it to this
What are
point,
you
you
doing?
fucked up.
It's done.
And don't read anything. Don't look at guides. Don't look at websites. Stop listening right now. Just keep yourself completely away. Don't
Yeah.
look at anything. That's the best way to do it. Be completely ignorant and then go figure it out for yourself. And then if you're really struggling or whatever, then you go look at something. But until then, look at nothing. Nothing at
Yes.
all.
Unless you're joining my clan, then look at everything. Be fully prepared to go into that raid. We're going to try and speed run this thing because I only got so much time before I got to go down dinner with my
And
family.
if you don't have the cold heart, then you can't join us.
Must be at least level 300 for normal mode raid. please.
300, cold
Must be.
heart. Otherwise,
Cold heart.
get out. Get out.
Tarantula
Remember when people were nervous
Tarantula.
about smoking
and
through
a
all of
warlock. And
Oh,
and
yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
And Arc Buddy
Oh.
must have Arc
it?
Buddy.
Gonna steam
Must
right
be
through
Arc
this raid
Buddy.
being highlight level.
It was pretty funny seeing those day one comments like, oh, where you allowed us to get over this level? Oh man, And then I was like,
it was just people thinking about Wrath of the Machine.
oh yeah, totally.
Figuring out the formula too fast. So they definitely were a much more tricky this time around.
Yeah, no, people had a right to be like kind of cautious about it because in the past we overleveled everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean we're way over leveled now. So
and still having difficulty with it.
Yeah, it's
I think
execution.
I think a good raid is
mechanics.
not based on just pure damage. I like the fact that it's mechanic heavy.
Yeah,
I like a mix.
it's okay to have a
mix.
damage check. Yeah, it's okay to have a damage check here and there, but I definitely would prefer more execution based.
Mm-hmm.
They all have their merits.
Hunter Dragon says, has anyone encountered Randall 2.0 yet?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard about him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the when you do the public event that's by the Cabal warship on European Dead
Sunken
Zone.
Isles.
Yeah,
Where you
Sunken
got to
Isles.
scroll way up on the map.
Yeah, the one that everybody forgets about because it's all the way up
Yep.
there. He spawns. I don't know if he spawns because of the public event, but he will show up and he has like a ridiculous amount of health. He's like a tank.
It doesn't feel like as much, but I mean, you can tell because it says Reaver Vandal on its name.
Yeah.
And that was the name of the major. And
That was Randall
okay.
Vandal.
Yeah.
You can hit him with a coil
Yes.
and it takes like a nub of his health.
It's definitely a throwback.
Yeah.
Nikolai Mayo says, what that weapon accuracy stat means exactly. Has anybody figured out the math?
Same thing as Destiny 1. Weapon accuracy isn't really a stat as much as it's like a general term used to describe about 20 different stats that go on behind the scenes.
Wonderful.
That's
Yeah, just leave it at
it
that.
affects magnetism, bullet pull. There's
it's
about
stuff that Bungie's never going to explain in game ever.
Yeah.
Does it account?
Literally never.
Does it account for netcode?
Probably not.
Hefty. Not even the netcode accounts for netcode.
It's true though. It's true.
Zach Cooper says, have done any extra exploration stuff yet? What are your thoughts on having more than one way to do the raid?
I did an hour and a half of exploring with my clan after our run, and I feel like Bungie's not going to get enough credit for putting all of that together. Just all the extra secrets and labyrinths and chests and all this other stuff. Cool. It's really, they really outdid themselves on that particular part of the raid. Like it is.
There's some straight up
insane
Ninja Warrior stuff down there.
It is nuts.
I love it.
Yeah, you got to be like crawling on like little pipes. You got to be jumping from like platform to platform, going through fans.
The spinning
There's all sorts of
barrels
shit down
where
there.
the platforms and you got to land on the platforms as it's spinning. Yeah. That's really cool. All that
There's a
stuff
bunch of
is
them
cool.
down there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's not even technically a part of the raid. Like it's just there's chests in there. Go
like
find
extra
them.
Content.
And it's huge. Yeah, they did such a good job with that.
What blows my mind is that we're underneath in the Leviathan ship, right?
Yeah.
We're in the city that's at the top of the ship, right? We're going through the underbelly of that city. Imagine if we could access the Leviathan itself.
The rest of the ship.
Man, maybe hard mode.
Hard mode.
Whole new section. Of
Have
shit.
they ever actually unlocked more real estate in a hard mode?
No.
No.
I would love it.
But they have the space to do it.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
One day I really want to see them either add another boss or add more play space or add another phase to an encounter or something like that. One day, Bungie. I want that.
I'd be blown away if they did. I don't think they are.
I want it.
But if they maybe kept one boss in normal mode because they were saving another boss in hard prestige mode, I'd be excited.
That'd be awesome.
You finish the raid and you go into the back there, and just as you're collecting your loot and you think, oh, you're done, like
400 robots animate.
Yeah, all the robot eyes go.
Whoa.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be legit.
Just anything to surprise at the end. Anything like that. I want that.
Dark Jader says, were you completely and utterly satisfied with the story? I thought it was a step forward, but still lacking depth. Safe choices were made, in my opinion.
I'll let someone else go first.
I was pretty satisfied with it. I don't come here looking for a, super in-depth movie-like experience. I come here looking for a reason to shoot stuff, and I got that. I got much more of that than I got in Destiny 1. I felt pretty satisfied with the story. No, it wasn't a, Oscar-level movie category kind of stuff, but like I felt like I got to know my characters more. I got to know the characters more, not necessarily my character more. I got to know the motivations of everybody and the motivations of why we're fighting. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good story. Yes, I was satisfied by the story.
I'm gonna say I liked everything. Io is the big planet that I have problems with. I felt like Ikora's storyline, like it hit her opening monologue for the most part, hit so well. Like we felt like there was going to be this really deep conflict that we would have to help her resolve, get her through, and then it's like 2 missions later, she's like, no, we're good.
Yeah,
like
it was over so quick.
Io and Ikora, that whole planet it felt like it was like they just didn't have enough time to fully flesh everything out because almost everything there, like Asher, there's no exotic quest line on there, even though you get one from just being on the planet in general and completing that story. Everything feels like it's, aside from the strike there, it feels like it could have been like 2 more things added to it. Do you think
they're leaving IO relatively unfleshed out because that's going to be an area of an expansion?
It could be, but I would have preferred that they do it in a way that maybe leaves more open-ended questions instead of really kind of. Yeah. Because it just like hard walled. It's like, no, we're done here. Bye. There could have been more like tributaries left off to go explore.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I do agree with that because Io is like really awesome too. When you explore
it's an awesome planet.
Yeah, you see all the cave systems and the Vex architecture and that strike too. That's
one of my
favorite strikes.
Oh yeah,
that thing is amazing. Like going through that, it's like, oh wow, this is. I kind of feel like Vault of Glass, but in a strike. This is nuts.
Right.
You know?
I'm really looking forward to the Flashpoint being there, actually, because we haven't had a lot of time to just be on Io for any reason. So with the Flashpoint, hopefully we'll get to see more of that planet because it's super cool and it has the best hunter capes.
How do you guys find the Flashpoints are working when they go off of the EDZ? I mean, I'm finding that right now. So
you mean it's on Nessus now?
It's on Nessus.
It's on Nessus, right? So so I'm finding that there's fewer people on Nessus doing the public events that I'm often.
And there were on the EDZ.
That's right, and I'm often felt I'm left by myself to compete. If I'm not going in with a group of 3, it's difficult to complete the heroic portion of the public events.
I've had experiences on both sides with the EDZ where sometimes you just show up and no one's there, and other times it's like 9 people.
I've had a mix of both.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess maybe it's just me, but I'm finding that it's a little harder to get people. And the further you get away from the rings, and exploring is a little harder to do. Like finding your way around, I think people get lost.
You know what, Pope? I recommend Getting Good.
Same.
There we go.
Oh, I would love to just say what's on my mind right now.
David C says, does sarcasm actively improve the rating experience? Is that amplified when it's used after several repeated wipes?
I think sarcasm
improves my experience.
I think sarcasm is a strong element of raids. Others may feel that it has no place. But,
I think it's a great element of raids that are going smoothly. When people are already getting frustrated and you add some stupid ass witty comment into the mix, just trying to make somebody feel bad, you're actively putting a blockade into the progress of that raid.
Yeah, and see that's where raid teams are like how they gel and they come together and different people kind of gravitate towards their raid team. I think that we are great on this podcast because we have very different approaches to the game that we play. Right? Yeah. Which is why I don't think we would necessarily make a great raid team because we have different ways that we enjoy and play the game.
Right.
So I enjoy playing with you guys because you're my friends, but I really enjoyed what we were doing. But as far as a successful quote unquote, raid team, the dynamic between us is not that of a successful raid team. It's the other side of that, which is the community and having fun and relaxing.
Mhm.
I like to think of us as the Top Gear of Destiny podcasts.
The Top Gear? Okay.
We're the Top Gear Destiny podcast, where we,
Okay.
we can give you a little bit of information about stuff for the most part, give you some breakdown, appeal to the the ethos and whatnot.
I thought you were going to say irrelevant and canceled.
Okay, we're the
They're on
Grand
Amazon,
Tour.
and
We're
it's
the
wildly
Grand
successful.
Tour.
Still pretty relevant.
Wait, this
Still
is
pretty
a show?
relevant there.
Yeah, it's a show.
yeah.
You've never watched Top
Never
Gear?
heard
called
of
it-
Top Gear?
I don't think I have.
Oh Lord!
Wow,
Oh,
Ted.
I've never heard of
It's-
Top Gear.
I don't
wow.
even care about cars, and I'm liking it because I like the presenters.
Yeah, Top Gear's
They're
amazing.
funny. It's a great stuff.
Tafty, as soon as you see it, you'll know what it is.
Yeah?
I promise you.
Yeah.
Just look it up right now. Top Gear.
It's men doing
it's
stupid
good.
stuff
It's
with
called
vehicles.
the
It's
Grand
great.
Tour right now on
the
Amazon.
original one, the British one, is really good.
Yeah, the British
That's
one. Not
the
the
only
Strictly,
one.
strictly about cars.
Yes.
It's more about men behaving stupidly.
Yes.
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 It's
With
just being
cars.
with cars.
With cars.
I
Taking
have
like really
never
like
seen this before.
really like
Hefty.
Wow.
I'm dead
fancy
serious.
cars
I've never
do
seen
like
this.
drive through Africa and stuff. It's just
You should
Hefty.
actually watch the Grand Tour. Like you
They
should
were-
watch an episode, and you will love it.
They
I
were the
promise.
first people to drive to the North Pole, not because they wanted to do that, but because they were too lazy to like walk. Or take one of the dog
Anyhow,
things.
not a
Yes.
sponsor. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
Jacob Boyle says,
Can't believe
how much
it.
time, if any, have you blown wandering the tunnel system in the Leviathan?
We spent like a good hour.
We blew a few hours.
2 hours.
We were there for
2 hours.
we were there for
Okay.
a while.
Yeah.
I was kind of regretting that at 2:00 in the morning when we still hadn't cleared the boss. I was like, Sir Slaw says, what was the most visually pleasing part of the raid?
the cabal balls in the bath. No,
My
cup-
bulge.
The
My
cup.
bulge.
I loved. Yeah, the bulge was pretty amazing. But I love the reaction. I love the reaction of Calais when he was like, when you knocked his cup, he was like,
he's like,
"What? I guess I gotta get up." That was
For,
wonderful.
for me, it was
teach you-
just zoning in. It was just zoning in, just being like,
Yeah,
Like, whoa,
oh
that's
my
big.
God.
and then you
Yeah.
could turn around and see Nessus. That was so cool.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Turning around and seeing Nessus was really cool. I think another part that I really liked was after you complete the dogs and the fireworks in that
That is
room
great. Yeah.
was really cool because you have all of this like awesome flowers and stuff, and it's a lush forest, and you've got fireworks going off. I
That's
really
nice.
liked that.
That's a nice
I
one.
like that a lot.
Hawkin117 says, what's the hardest part of the raid team-wise? I think we already kind of answered that, right? It's Calais.
Yeah, I think
Callous or beasts?
Yeah.
yeah, communication in general.
Communication.
the hardest
Yeah.
part is everybody staying together and not exploring everything.
That's true.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Feel you there.
just being away by yourself as a hunter and having you spawn into a place that you don't need to go.
Oh, I
into.
found a chest. Oh, I can't open it.
Hey! No.
Squally DeBean says, on a scale of 1 to 10, rank this and pass initial runs on the following categories: mechanics, difficulty, atmosphere, fun
Oh,
value.
Jesus.
We're not
Christ.
doing that, Squally.
A
Listen, we're not
college
doing that, Squally.
dissertation.
Here's what we're doing, though. We are going to rate them on how hard they were on the initial run.
This is the hardest.
You think so?
I think
Yeah.
this was the hardest for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
King's
Have you guys
Fall was pretty
seen
close,
the,
but this was definitely hardest.
If we're going based on time spent in the first run, it was not the hardest, but it was among the hardest.
Wow.
I felt Vault of Glass was harder because there was a real problem with gear at that time. I was consistently going into that thing like 3 or 4 levels under geared with blue weapons going into Vault of Glass. It was hard.
So I agree with
Hard.
that. I agree with that, but I think that was just a design problem with Destiny back then. And
Yeah,
why-
but it was hard.
That's why a lot of people quit Destiny back then, because they were like, okay, where's my avenue to level up? Like,
Just talking about your first time in, though. Just talking about your first time in. First reaction, how hard was
Yeah,
it?
it,
Vault of Glass was hard.
if we're going strictly based on time, it wasn't the hardest, but it's definitely up there.
All right. Dick Hurt says,
Okay.
we had the game for a week already. Have you guys changed your mind about your favorite super?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
What was my favorite super before?
My favorite super coming into this was the Sentinel.
Uh-huh.
And I've definitely become a arc striker, or the arc
Striker.
striker.
I've
Yeah,
gotten
this-
more familiar with the Defender. I'm liking the Defender more and more as I play it.
Yeah, I feel like
Even in
the
PvP.
striker for me is.
Sentinel-
I really like tossing that shield.
Sentinel with
sorry.
Doomfangs is so crazy fun
It is
because
fun.
it's just shield, punch something, shield, punch, shield. It's just like
Yeah.
constant button pushing and constant monitoring of cooldowns and just spamming as much as you can. It's nice.
With the PC beta, I fell in love with the Striker Titan, and now that I leveled up a Titan, was able to Titan shoulder charge boxes around the arena. Like I still love,
Yeah.
I still love the Striker. I think the super is
It's-
amazing.
You know what's super fun, Teffy? Is when the box drops at the end of the public event,
Mhm.
you shoulder charge that thing and send it flying across
Yeah.
the map.
Yep.
I figured out what you need to do
Yeah.
is have one of your teammates on the other side of the box, like right next to it,
Uh-huh.
then shoulder charge it. It's a guaranteed physics pop every time.
Yeah, you want that thing to fly.
You can
And
also
then-
kill people with it,
Yeah.
as I have done on
Oh,
accident.
that's
You could-
nice.
you
I
could-
like
Sorry, that guy.
You can shoulder charge the interceptor and kill people as well.
Wow.
It's awesome.
I personally love that you can the Titan exotics and equipment seem really suited for creating different playstyles, but ultimately it's the double nades
Oh, double
on
pulse.
Striker, double pulses.
Those are pretty good, yeah.
They're
Double
just
pulses,
so
yeah.
unbelievably strong right now, even in PvE,
Mhm.
that it's hard to go without them.
I hope they don't do anything to them to bring them down. I love them.
Same.
I hope they don't either, but I have a feeling they are monitoring it.
Let's be honest, guys. Things need to stick out in a loot-based game. So it's okay if those nades stick out. It's okay if Devour sticks out in the Warlock. It's okay that Holtz's pants have a bulge. It's okay, guys.
It's okay.
Just let it
And
be.
what was that little
Even the
goblin
female
doing?
hunters have that bulge.
They-
What was that
They're
little
packing
goblin
heat.
doing to your bulge?
There was a goblin.
There was a
Trying to
goblin
inspect
on.
your bulge.
He was inspecting Patrick's bulge at the end of
Bruh.
the raid.
You ever been mirroring on someone's bulge? Goblin was mirroring on the bulge.
Myron?
Mirroring.
Myron?
Mirroring.
Myron.
Mirroring.
No.
Mirroring.
All right, you ain't sparing no merit on a bulge. God damn.
Dan Drumstone says, was there ever a moment during the raid where you thought, once I beat this thing, I'm never coming back here again?
Absolutely
dogs.
not.
Nope.
Dogs.
Nope. I freaking love raids, and I was blown away. It's such a unique experience to be able to go in. Like, not only do you grind to get ready and experience a new world, a new platform, then you get to it's so mechanically heavy and just takes so many brilliant minds that are artistic to come together and make something like that. And for us to get
Yeah.
just to experience it, I love it. Absolutely love it.
I did think there's no way I'm teaching people how to do this. But I will definitely come back.
When we did the baths, I was like, okay, yeah, no, this will be an easy one to explain. Dogs, I was like, this is going to take drawing some diagrams. When we got to Calais, I was like, I'm going to just reference people to Datto's videos. I'm done with this shit. I'm not,
Calais'
nope.
guide out tomorrow sometime, probably.
I will retweet it.
Thanks.
Rezo
I will
Wilson
show it to
309.
everyone.
Yeah, right. Rezo Wilson 309 says, what's the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome in the raid that makes you the most proud? Also, did anyone use the old fashioned?
I had it in my inventory.
I feel like the entire community was using Nameless Midnight.
Yep.
No, I was
Yes, I
using
was.
Better Devils. Better Devils.
Better Devils also totally fine.
I
But-
do
Both really
appreciate
good.
the old
Better
fashioned.
Devils and Nameless Midnight both have explosive
Really,
rounds.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good.
Turns out explosive payload kind of good for staggering enemies,
So I found
especially ones that have shields.
I found Scathe Lock worked out really well because you could keep them in auto lock from those high caliber rounds. So I ended up defaulting to that towards the end.
Biggest challenge. Trying to think. Like, Honestly, for us, it was the first encounter, like I spoke about earlier. It was just people were having problems with dying. People not getting ammo at the right time, and then as soon as just something clicked, and we started people rotating back and forth and getting ammo and stuff, it just from then on we were just way smoother sailing. It's just usually that one thing that you just need to just click, and then it's like, oh, okay, and then you get on a roll. Otherwise, it was me not completely potatoing on the Emperor. Feels bad.
Hardest thing to get through, probably trying to convince my raid team that it's easier for a call out to say one thing instead of two things on the gauntlet encounter, and then the complete.
You actually didn't get through it, to be honest. With you never made it through.
Well, I probably could have made it through if I would have taken the time to rewire my brain, but that's entirely too much work.
So we swapped you out. It was fun.
It was cool. Fun. We put in an alternate and
swapped you out, and it worked out perfect. No problem.
They ended up being better than
No names, guys. I'm not calling out that person at all.
No.
What if it turns out that I'm just like I have some weird form of dyslexia, and that's the reason?
Maybe.
I'm legit
dyslexic.
dyslexic.
Explain
I'm legit dyslexic. I had training when I was a kid.
Maybe that's why I can't. Maybe that's why I can't comprehend saying like top bottom when I'm looking at the middle thing. Maybe.
Maybe you're just too focused on the thing.
I'm so
that stands
focused
out.
on that.
You're so focused on it, that you're just like, I don't know,
like ignoring all others. I got tunnel vision.
Running out of primary ammo was the most challenging.
Oh god!
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
There were multiple times where I had to stop doing damage to the boss just to go and look for ammo or to start punching dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is one thing. They even commented on it too. We had many discussions on the podcast about, well, hopefully the ammo situation isn't a problem. We talked about it in the beta, and then here comes the raid. There are moments where you're like, why am I out of kinetic ammo? You should
kinetic. Well, sometimes I'd be out of kinetic and energy weapon ammo.
Yeah.
Like I just had none.
I think
you just I have none.
I never got. I mean, I definitely ran out of one or the other at some point. I never ran out of both, and power ammo was usually pretty plentiful, unless you're doing boss damage on Calais.
Power ammo was plentiful because you would slap scions all the time, and they put that in, like at least by the sounds of it when they're talking in the TWAB recently. So that was like a recent addition. They're like, hey, we noticed that power ammo was a problem, so we're gonna make it so every elite drops it. Like,
right?
Didn't they consider this before?
I'm pretty sure didn't they mention that something around the beta? I feel like they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
Beta.
But the biggest thing I was telling some of my raid team members when they were struggling with power ammo, it's like, make sure you at least participate in the kill of some sort of a major enemy to get a way higher chance of getting power ammo. Like anytime you see any sort of major, you shoot it.
Yeah.
Even if it's just once.
Even if you were just close to it dying.
Seems like it was proximity.
Yeah. Anything, shoot it, be near it, whatever.
Yeah, for me,
do something to it.
Yeah, it's proximity.
I am still of the opinion that kinetic weapons or primary in Destiny 1, whatever you would want to call it, shouldn't have ammo. Should have a magazine that should be 100%. Like Overwatch. Like that would solve so many issues that have just always persisted in the game. But I can totally understand why they wouldn't want to, because then it creates scenarios of I don't have any ammo, now I have to run around during a fight.
Sweet business would be broken.
Yes, it would be because you couldn't have sweet business
in the right kind of way.
Yeah,
in the sweetest way. Oh god!
Can you imagine just walking around the Crucible, just constantly firing it? You never let off.
Oh my goodness!
Well, you could just change it to the barrel overheating, right?
Oh yeah,
there
exactly.
You go. Problem solved.
The other thing too, sweet business. That skin is glorious.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. What?
It's nice.
You didn't inspect it? Go to tests, inspect, go look at that sweet business skin. Your appreciation of the sweet business will triple. Guaranteed.
Really?
Guaranteed. Triple.
Oh my.
Yeah. 4 out of 5 doctors guarantee triple success.
It's not available this week. It's not available this week.
I did buy mine.
Paul Gifford says, given the post-credit scenes at the end of the campaign, and now that you've played the raid, how do you see the story evolving with the next DLC?
I feel like that thing. I feel like that thing that we saw at the end of the raid is not going to be seen in the DLCs. That's going to be so. Yeah, because there was like it
The
looked
thing
like
at the end of the
napkin.
story, you said, right?
Yeah, end of the
Yeah.
story.
Okay, just clarify
Space
that.
Doritos.
Yeah, there was like it looked like a napkin sketch of like this is what we just like the 5 enemy types of Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
and we could see 4 of them, and then there was one with the triangle ships and kind of like smoky figures. I can't remember what that was from, but I feel like that's gonna.
They are the darkness.
They showed that
right?
art
Yeah.
in the very beginning of the beta and the first Destiny.
Yeah,
That was art.
Unknown
Yeah.
race.
With
Yeah.
an unknown
Unknown
race, we
race.
don't know what it is. I feel like that's going to be Destiny 3, whatever. Like
You think it's that far?
That's not. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
tease it
genuinely
now.
think
So
it's that
yeah,
far.
if the teaser to me says that's coming in the Taken King DLC drop for Destiny 2.
Okay.
Like 1 year
Potentially.
later, where we're going to get introduced to this new race, and it's going to be
Comet
huge
2?
changes. Yeah, the Comet 2, essentially. I don't think it would be a regular DLC like in December or March or April, something like that. I think it's like a big refresh type of DLC that comes in Destiny 2. Because why else would they tease it in the story? It'd be like, you did all this cool stuff, and now there's something looming.
Because it's for the people that bought the game, but then want to be there for the main story points that are like way far ahead if they just want to buy Destiny 3.
I think
So
it's just
done.
something to keep people like, you just finished, yeah, okay, it's great, hooray, and then you see this one thing, and you're just like, what is that? I'm hyped, and it's just keep questions going. I think I have no idea when it's gonna appear in anything. It might not even appear ever again, but I think it's just something purely to just get people hyped up about whatever's coming next.
It's where the stranger was getting her orders from.
Time for
Done.
rapid fire mode, guys.
Ooh,
3
Okay.
words
let's
or
have it.
less answers, okay?
Okay.
Evan Meyer says, what are some features you'd like to see come to Destiny 2 in the future?
Better
That is
so-
not a
sorry,
rapid fire.
More
Rapid
sorting
fire mode has been
options.
engaged.
Emotes,
things.
wheel.
More stuff.
Ramen, emote, my inventory. My inventory is hyphenated.
Terrence
I
Welling
refuse
says,
to
advice
answer.
for keeping your raid team on point and positive during multiple failures.
Lots of
Don't
sarcasm.
be assholes.
I don't have any advice.
Threats.
Best
Threats.
thing to do is actually on a personal level for each person. If you fuck
This
up,
is
if you
way
make a
past 3
mistake,
words.
I shut up. I don't care. If you fuck up, if you make a mistake, own it. And then that means you know you did something wrong. Everyone else knows. You can maybe explain what you did wrong so everyone else can avoid it. And it's not going to be turning into a rabble, you did this, I hate you type scenario.
If you're in a group that's doing that, what you just described, get out of that group. Just
Yeah,
leave that.
that's a bad
leave the-
experience.
What? That sounds fucking awful.
The rabble
The
rabble
second
thing.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah, the
the
second
thing.
thing.
I'm like,
What? If you're, I've been in that group, right? That's just filled
Yeah.
with toxic people, or even
Not
just
fun.
one toxic person that's yelling at other teammates and just being a general asshole. Always got an excuse why whatever happened, it wasn't his fault.
Yeah,
Just
leave.
you know, if you
The game
if you have the
bugs.
opportunity, kick him out,
No, I didn't.
and if you can't kick him out, leave, because that's just no fun. That's not how you want to be spending your time.
Yeah, you don't want to like tarnish the raid experience with that. Yeah.
Ribbing your friends is all good fun. Be careful though when you're in an endless loop of fucking up that you're not ribbing too hard.
Yeah.
Stealth Ninja says, after playing through the new raid, would you say the future of Destiny raid seems more promising than it did in Destiny 1?
Sure.
Absolutely.
That's putting a lot of pressure.
all of Destiny 2 so far has been really promising for the future of Destiny.
Very true.
It's been a consistent enough good experience that I think as long as they keep it up and continue to try to innovate, we're gonna be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mutasm says, so y'all know Destiny 1 had a raid formula like immune, mechanics, DPS, and then protection.
Yep.
How much y'all think it's changed for the Leviathan raid?
Not very much, but a little bit.
It's
I
get
think
in your group and do your thing.
How they go about implementing these mechanics has changed. But if we want to look at Calais, right? He's immune. A thing happens. You do some stuff to make him unimmune. You shoot him. You do it again, right? That's still part of the raid formula, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's just how you go about doing it. That's the thing that changes. And
Your one way to interact with the world is with a gun.
Right.
Yeah.
There's only so many mechanics.
There's only so many mechanics they can do with the very limited UI that they have available to them. So, would I like to see more complex things try to happen? Would I like to see more like boss phases where new things happen, sort of like with the gauntlet when like the floor drops out? Keep moving along that line, but then even like change it up even more. Like keep changing things up on me, keep me surprised, and keep trying to do what you can to change up that formula. And if you can't make it, if you can't change it, then make it interesting. And I still think they kept it interesting.
Yeah. It's like Briar said though. It's difficult to go beyond. You shoot stuff with your gun. Like you can slap stuff, shoot stuff. You can hold down square on stuff. It's like we've seen a lot so far. So any innovation beyond that is going to be really impressive, in my opinion.
I just want to see a teabag mechanic. Everyone's trying to figure out what the hell.
Every weekend
how do
in
we
Trials of
open this
Osiris,
door?
that's how you win.
No. How do we open this door? Everyone's trying all this stuff. One guy decides to teabag the door and it opens. That's what I want.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's how you open the door to the lighthouse. I'm almost positive. All right, last question of the day. Big Sean says, with Pope finally converting to the mystical house of no frames, why does Holtzmann always bring up porn first?
What?
I like that misdirect, Big Sean. That was a good one.
Wonderful.
Well, very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
That's all. That's all the questions. That
It's
wasn't
not even a question.
Doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't. It was important to the community, so Briar had to read it.
Briar,
That's
can you
correct.
vet these accounts that are asking us questions to make sure it's not Pope just asking weird shit on alternate accounts? Like they have to
The fact
have
that you think it's
existed for
Pope.
more than a year on Twitter.
Don't try to silence me.
Oh man.
The answer to that question is no.
I got a question for you guys. After playing what we've played so far in D2, how excited are you to see it in PC with unlimited frames and higher field of view?
Very excited. Very excited.
I'm excited to see the raid in higher frames. That's going to look so gorgeous.
It's gonna look nice when it's not half the time having some frame issues or entering the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully the sound glitches get a little cleaned up. I remember shoulder charging a bunch of war beasts right as we were starting a damage phase on Calais, and it killed like 6 or 7 of them, and it was really loud and really framey. Yeah, I hope to see that cleaned up.
I've been noticing.
It'll be
some
nice.
bitches.
Yeah, it's the raid. It really feels like it's maxing out on what the console is capable of. I don't know how true that is, but it feels like it is maxing out.
Yeah, you know how Siege Engine was like, "Ooh, man, we can really feel it here." The current raid is right on the edge of that. Right on the edge of that. It's all it takes. There's water everywhere in the raid too. I don't know if you noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime a lot of stuff happens near that water, explosions or whatnot, and it causes the water particle effects to come up too, yeah, you're gonna start seeing some gnarly stuff happen.
Also, with like everyone having an arc soul on them,
Oh yeah,
plus
Oh, boy.
water, plus
Oh, boy.
supers, plus shooting guns, it's a little insane.
Yeah.
When you're in the suck and the skulls are coming out, you can see it sort of start happening there.
Yeah.
I
Because
didn't feel as much there, but
we had our buddy, and plus all the shooting, and we were using the cold heart to shoot the heads. So all the cold heart lasers and particle effects of that happening with the arc buddy, the darkness started to turn a little pixelated.
I want an Arc Buddy plushie.
Arc Buddy plushie.
I love
Need
Arc
an
Buddy.
arc buddy
I
t-shirt.
think that's just called a blue circle.
Exactly. It's easy. I want an Arc Buddy plushie. That's a ghost. No, that looks like a ghost. I need like a gelatinous moving plushie.
I don't know how good a gelatinous.
I think stream's lagging, Tattoo. I see people yelling about frames.
It's not me. It's Twitch.
I thought this was the Church of Unlimited Frames.
Okay, let's quickly end the
We were
podcast
fooled.
then. Let's quickly end the podcast then, so I can hopefully download.
Yeah,
podcast.
even my preview is not glitching at all.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in to the 50th episode of the Destiny Community Podcast. It's we made it.
We done made it.
And then in 2 episodes we can
Arc
have
Buddies.
a year. And one about Arc Buddies. All right, there we go. Thank you for the title. If you want to find more of me, I'm at Holtzmann_YT on Twitter, where you can find me not succinctly saying thing in three words like I'm supposed to.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me on YouTube. Just look up Briar Rabbit. You can find me on Twitch. Just look up Briar Rabbit. And you can find me on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit.
I am Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. My streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft, usually start around 6 p.m. Pacific time, somewhere within a half hour, an hour or so of that. And I have a YouTube channel that gets some content as well. Just search Tefty Teft.
And I'm Miss 5000 Watts, where you can usually see me on streams at Miss 5000 Watts on Twitch. Same with YouTube and Twitter.
That was my turn.
Yes, sir.
Hi. You can find me over on YouTube, youtube.com/DattoDoesDestiny. Find me on Twitter at Datto'sDestiny and on Twitch, twitch.tv/Datto. All different names because I'm smart.
But also, all include sexy leg, don't they?
They all have the sexy leg. We got
There
it.
it is. There it is, guys.
It was up for a little bit during the podcast.
Yeah, I saw the legs get spammed.
Yeah.
So this has been Pope Bear. You can find me on Twitter at Pope Bear. Make sure to follow the podcast at DestinyCompod. I'm putting in the chat right now, and you can also find on our Twitter page a way of getting into a giveaway. We have over 20 ways that you can win a brand new custom DCP PC. That's a monitor, the Razer keyboard, mouse, and mouse pad, and all that stuff for Destiny 2. And we're going to be giving it away on October 5th on the podcast. So if you have our console player and you've always wanted to try playing on PC, here's an opportunity to maybe win a custom-made PC for yourself for free.
Woohoo!
So just go in there, and it's easy to sign up. Datto, do not sign up. If you win, we're not giving it to you.
I don't plan on it. That's fine.
All right. Just kidding. But it's a great company that we're working with to give you a computer. And
On-air PC.
On-air PC is going to be one of the Twitter accounts that you can follow to be an entry. And definitely show them some love. So thank you very much, On-air PC, and we are excited to offer this to you guys.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in this week. We'll see you all next week. Hey, I'm
Shout
going to
out
go.
Wendy.